Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, Ireland's biggest legend, bringing you the preview to the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg as Tottenham look to overturn a 2-0 deficit as they take on Chelsea. Let's absolutely smash them. But look, we are joined by co-host Jack Kanicki and new regular Shawnee Boy. First of all, Jacko, how are you keeping, brother?
Doing well, David. Since last night, great debate last night, fantastic show. Looking forward to today. It's a bit of a free hit, Dave, so I'm actually feeling like maybe not as nervous probably for it as I probably normally would be. Feels like maybe not too much is at stake. Of course, we do have, potentially a cup final that we could be going into, but we had such an atrocious performance the first time. It's time for the players to, kind of make do and kind of, recover and repair what they did in the first leg, and hopefully they can do so.
No, I really do hope so. I really do. I mean, we are up against it, injuries and stuff like that. But that's when Tottenham come out fighting like dogs. And I do have an expression for today's game, and I will say it after we introduce Shawnee Boy. Shawnee, how are you keeping, my man?
Mate, I'm always good on game day! There's no better day in the week than a day when Tottenham are playing. I don't care that we're 2-0 down. We're starting from scratch. We have to get an early goal. See what happens. Do not concede early, but I'm always pumped. I'm always excited. Very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me once again.
No, look, I absolutely love game day, my man, and you're getting everybody pumped up for this. This is exactly what we're talking about. I mean, we have Chelsea coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It doesn't get better than this. But my saying for today's game is, it's not about the size of the dog that counts. It's about the size of the fight in the dog that counts. And that's all that matters today. Let's use that as our expression, our motto going forward into today's game. I mean, look, if you can't beat them on a technical level, just turn it into a brawl. I mean, I can accept not going through to the final tonight as long as we give it a good crack and absolutely rattle their cages like they did to us at the Battle of the Bridge. It's very famous, that game, and I want one to happen at this new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's set a precedent tonight that when Chelsea do come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they better be up for a physical battle, plus a good footballing match, and our crowd will absolutely hate on them. Any fan that's going to that game today, sing about John Terry, Terry's mother, his wife, whatever, sing about we hate Chelsea. I absolutely love it. Let's make it an absolute cauldron of hate. Let's intimidate him. Let's let Frank Lampard, what's his name? Mason Mount. Let's watch him absolutely. Let's watch his chicken legs, buckle from underneath him, shake him. That's what I want today. This is a derby game. I mean, I'm sick of them hurting me. Use the last League Cup final loss as pain. Use the Battle of the Bridge stopping us from going for the league title as pain, and get out there today and right some wrongs. I am sick of losing to these. So let's get after them today. But look, before we do get into it, let's see what people we have in the building with us, the Irish Hotspur Army. Let's see who we have. We have the regular. I must win today. Can't wait to go. Come on, you Spurs. That's what I'm talking about, regular. Let's get after it, my man. Tottenham Tantrum Goal says, ladies and gentlemen, it's the main event of the evening. It's time to put them Chelsea back where they belong, in the dump from Kildare, Ireland. He is Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, David Irish Hotspur Harris. That's what I'm talking about, my man. Big yourself up, Dermot. He also said, ladies and gentlemen, from New York, he is the #1 USA Spurs fan, and I'll repeat that one, #1 USA Spurs fan. He's the one and only Jack Stats Man Kanicki. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Spurs. And he also said, we will win tonight 5-0. Absolutely love it, Dermot. Big yourself up. Elias is in the house. Big up, everyone. Hope Gill starts today. He needs some game time, and he has been good. The last few times he has been subbed on, and I think Sanchez is that bad. He had some few silly moments, but very underrated. Come on, you Spurs. I mean,
Elias, spot on.
Yeah, I disagree with Sanchez, to be honest with you. I thought he was absolutely abysmal.
I see in the Chelsea game. Yeah, true. But I want to see Hill. I like the Hill comment. I want to see Hill absolutely, tear it apart. But maybe he might not feature today. But Elias, big yourself up, my man. Good to see you, brother.
No, good to see you, my man. Joe 27, according to Matt Law, funds at Tottenham are limited this January. I mean, look, it's every single January. I mean, the next January will be limited because they have to go out and get a leaf blower to blow around the leaves around the stadium or something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. I hear it every single transfer window. Funds are limited, funds are limited, funds are limited. And I've had enough of it, quite frank. I mean, Burnley don't complain about funds being limited. You know what I mean? And other teams don't really complain about funds being limited. But it's always Tottenham in the press. Funds are limited, and I had enough of it. But look, could be the case. I mean, I do understand it being through the pandemic and everything else. So, look, I suppose we have to wait and see, my man.
You might as well reported the sky is blue. You might as well have just reported the sky is blue, Dave. Because seriously, I mean, it's just could have just said that, any other way.
Big up, Joe. Big up, my man. Dark Zone G's in the building. Come on, you Spurs. Let's go for 2-0 win and extra time, or win 3-0. Win and kill the game within 90 minutes. I absolutely love that. 90 minutes would be nice to get over and done with, especially with them scum at the weekend. I can't wait for them. Oh, my God. Sushan Bushan says, big up, everyone. Positivity here, too, but a miracle needs to happen, too. Winky will have an amazing game, I think. No, look, I mean, miracles do have to happen, but miracles do happen. I mean, look at me. I'm a miracle to my mother. You know what I mean? So miracles do happen, guys. Miracles do happen, Sushan. Keep the faith, my man. Kane the Long Shot says, Coys, big up, Kane the Long Shot. He says, going to be another transfer window without a signing in it. It's looking like that, but look, I mean, we're still only halfway through the month, so you have to wait and see. The latest I did see on Adama Traore now is that Spurs actually want to loan him now until the summer. I mean, it's just like, it's 20 million. Just please pay the 20 million. I mean, it's the asking price. Just pay it. Like, stop messing about. But look, Clement says, hi, guys. I think we will win Spurs 3-0. Thanks to Ken Hattrick. I hope so, my man. Cody Mack, not to lose. Come on, you Spurs. Show some fight and heart. Exactly. That's I absolutely love that, Cody. Big yourself up. Lazy A says, I think Daigle reported this morning that we signed the new tea lady. Come on, you Spurs. No, honestly, I text Daigle every day. I mean, the women's team signed a player the other day. So I text Daigle, told him to stop complaining because we did do a bit of business, and then we signed the youngster on a pro contract yesterday. So again, I text Daigle. It's like second bit of business this time. It's all in good nature, though. It's all in good nature, Lazy A. It's hilarious. We'll have to text them. Yeah, we'll have to text them now that the tea lady's in. Big up, Nick. DMT85, so big up to everyone just on the train up. Oh, absolutely love it, DMT.
Big up, DMT. Get out there. Enjoy it.
Tequila 316. I probably could do a few of them for today's game, my man. Big yourself up, my man. Times 100 incoming. Take a shot for every time he says it. No bother, my man. Get your shot out, lad. Aglea Kakaratis, can't wait to hear what you got to say on the match and what your thoughts on how we'll fare tonight. I personally hope we repeat our previous triumphs in Cup and smash them up. No, look, we can do it. We've done it to Arsenal many years ago. I mean, Danny Rose's famous goal in that game as well. So, I mean, we've definitely had our fair share of being able to turn around ties. Ajax is another one that comes to mind, so let's do it. And we only had 45 minutes to save that one. So, I mean, why can't we do it today? Stevie Fraser, afternoon all. Early goal is going to change everything. I could not agree more, Stevie.
Big up, Stevie.
Big up, David and Jack and Sean. Let's give Chelsea the blues. Absolutely love that. Dark Sun G says 4:45 a.m. kickoff in Korea. I just hope for a good game. Do you know, I actually do hope they turn up for you today, Dark Sun G, you and Gaguma and anyone else in the chat that's from over that part of the world, my man. Because, I mean, there's nothing worse than getting up and just not seeing Tottenham show up, especially when you have to get an hour's sleep and then go and do whatever it is about your daily business. I mean, it's just not nice, Dark Sun G. So hopefully they can turn up tonight, my man. Big yourself up. Leon's in the building, absolutely buzzing for the second leg. Let's hope Lucas can replicate that night in Amsterdam. I hope so, my man. Andrew Bailey. Yeah, that's a good point, Leon. Andrew Bailey, come on, you Spurs. Let's send them packing home with their cash. Yeah, hopefully. Let's do it. Wembley 1 afternoon, lads. I'm going against the grain tonight. Keep it tight early. Lull Chelsea to sleep. I'm thinking the tie is over. Then go for it last 15-20. If we go for it from the off, they will rip us. Do you know what? I mean, even if they do sit back, it's playing into their hands because they know we would struggle to break them down. So we have to entice them out. We kind of have to make it an open game to let them come out, because if they sit back like Watford done or like other teams done, it's playing right into their hands. It completely is playing right into their hands. Because they know we don't have the players to be able to put balls over the top, put balls towards the back post and break them down. So we have to make it an open game today. Stevie Fraser, yes, Dave, love it, absolutely love it. Big up, Stevie. Old Soul is in the building. Big up, lads and ladies. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Old Soul. I hope you keep him well, my man. Dark Sun G, really appreciate the support again, lad. And he says, if we win, that's great. But if we lose, I want to lose fighting. This season, it's hard to play against Tottenham at home under Conte. No more slagging off. And this is another great point. I mean, our home form is absolutely excellent under Conte. And look, All I want is, like you were saying there, Dax. I mean, I don't mind going down. Just go down, showing some bollocks and fight. You know, don't just take it. Jack, what would you say, Dax?
I think Dark Sun G has hit the nail on the head here. I mean, even if we do end up, losing this one, at least what they have to do, Dave, is just do the bare minimums, which they didn't do the last time, Dark Sun G, which was just at least show a bit of grit, show a bit of fight, at least show like a bit of courage, a bit of bravery, just all these things that we just didn't see. It just seemed like they were just absolute pedestrians that last match. And if they can overcome that sort of, kind of performance, then I actually be quite happy. And when you think about that, that's quite low expectations, Dark Sun G. So I would say they definitely should improve and repair exactly what they did last time, which was a pretty atrocious performance. I just want to see them basically die trying. So big up Dark Sun G.
No, big up Dark Sun G, my man. Really appreciate the support. And Ellie, really appreciate the support. And I hope you're doing okay. And she says, oh, Winky, he's playing for Conte. He's better than Conte, lol. Oh, Winky. Sean, Harry Winks, do you think he could beat you today?
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll play well. I think he'll put in a better performance than he did last Wednesday, and I think that he's going to be pivotal. I think he's going to be pivotal. Sorry to interject for 1 second. Have you seen what's happened in the AFCON? The game between
Mali, was it?
Tunisia and Mali.
Yeah. What exactly went on there?
I'm just looking at it. The referee blew the full-time whistle at 85 minutes, even though there was water breaks throughout the second half. And then when everyone went, what are you doing, man? The game isn't even remotely over. They restarted, and then he blew the final whistle again at 89 minutes.
Oh, what?
It's madness. It's all falling apart in the AFCON. Sorry, I was just looking at it.
I'll be looking into some betting there, some betting.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be doing. But that is crazy. No, look, hopefully our referee doesn't take inspiration from that today.
Yeah. Well, unless we're 3-0 up on the 75th minute, and then I'm more than happy. More than happy.
100%. Maybe he just got really bored. Maybe he just got really bored of the game and just wanted to end it off as soon as possible. That sometimes can happen.
Absolutely.
But Ellie, Winky, I hope he comes through. He did have a spectacular performance against another, kind of a German kind of pressing team, similar, to Chelsea in the case of Liverpool. If he has, a great performance like he did against Liverpool, I might hop on that Winky train. I certainly would be rather, a late, jumper on that Winky train, because I still don't really believe too much in it. But if he does have a spectacular performance, I might have to jump on that train. So hopefully Winky comes through for us. Big up, Ellie.
He's so important. He's so important tonight, though, guys, isn't he? Like we've got. Yeah. It looks like we're going to be short in defence again. It looks obviously we're going to have limited, if not first choice options up front. I think his creativity, whatever he has been doing, it needs to be a 10 out of 10 performance from him if we're going to have any chance this evening.
No, 100%. 100%. Look, for me, I think it would be wise to put him in. I mean, what we need to do is put stretch teams in behind. We're playing everything in front of them lately, and it's too easy for them to defend. We need to start stretching teams in behind. And I think Harry Winks, he's shown lately that he does have that passing ability. So let's see if he can bring it. But big up, Ellie. I really appreciate the support. I'll take another couple of comments, and then we will get into everything you need to know and start dishing out the questions. Moline says, watching from China, the game starts at 3:45 a.m. for me. Come on, you Spurs, big yourself up, and look, fair play to you for staying up so late to watch the game. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. Fiona, big up. Fiona says, need a super fast start if we are to have any chance today. 100% could not agree more. We have to get after it from the off. Matthew Paris, the Bayesian Hotspur in the building. Big up, Matthew. Hope you're keeping well. 24Z is with us. Gaguma's in the building. Big up, Gaguma. Hope you're keeping well. The Smasher's in the house. Yo, I'm positive today. 3-0 to us tonight. Big up, the Smasher. Hope you're keeping well, my man. Spurs 72. Tottenham Hotspur game day. Nothing better. Big up, Jack, David, and Sean. My prediction for tonight is a 2-0 win. And we will win on pens.
Yes. Love that.
We love it.
Come on, Spurs 72.
Game day, Shawnee. I mean, it's the best day of the week, isn't it?
It's game day. It's game day. Nothing better when you wake up in the midweek and it doesn't matter what time it is, but everything that was on your plate goes, hey, if I can put it off, I'm going to put it off because I've got more important things to worry about than the rest of my life. Yeah. And it's about figuring out what's going to happen. This is what I was saying to Jack in the back screen. Like, I haven't done anything that I need to do today. I've been sitting there looking at the clock going, how many more minutes until I can get on this show and talk Tottenham with you guys? It's game day.
There you are, Spurs 72. You're certainly getting Sean excited, my man. Beat yourself up, brother. I really appreciate the support. Let's get after them, lad. Let's get after them.
2-0 win is bare minimum, Spurs 72. I mean, we could get to pens. Yeah. Let me know who's getting that winning pen, though, Spurs 72. Let me know who's hitting that winning pen. Who's taking that fifth or sixth penalty. Big up, Spurs 72.
Look, do we have the penalty takers? It remains to be seen. Philip Brady says, big few days ahead, cannot even contemplate late losing to both scums. No, I can't either. I mean, that'd just be heartbreaking, Philip. That'd be absolutely heartbreaking. And if that happens, I mean, you just try and stop Ryan Daigle. Just try and stop him. He will go on an absolute rampage. But Philip, I mean, we just need... Look, even if we go down fighting tonight, just absolutely bury this scum. Just bury them. I've had enough of them. Had enough of their yapping and their crowing and everything else. Just absolutely bury them once and for all. But Tottenham Tantrum Goal, big up Dermot. He says, we are the mighty Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Don't you ever forget that. We can do anything. We will rise as one tonight for the Cockerel. We will march to Wembley, as Ozzy once sang. Spurs are on their way to Wembley. Come on, lads. Absolutely love it. I absolutely love it, Dermot. What a man. I mean, you can always rely on Dermot for a bit of passion, Jack.
Oh, it's beautiful, Dermot. I'm honestly getting a bit of shivers from that. You know, that's absolutely momentous, Dermot. Loving the energy, loving the positivity, loving also as well, you know, in the spirit of Ozzy. That's exactly what we need to be doing. Someone who's an absolute role model probably to these players and probably should be. And Dermot, I will say, though, some of these players, they do need that Tottenham Hotspur history lesson. So I think they have a very good teacher in you. So maybe they hire you to give them that history lesson, my man. But big yourself up, Dermot, and looking forward to maybe them actually, like I said, repairing what they did to us last time and at least showing a bit of heart, a bit of passion, and a bit of bravery that they didn't show last time out. But big up, Dermot.
Big up, Dermot, my man. Everyone.
And I think there were 3 big ups in that. So Tequila 316. Hopefully, you're not already deep and buried with the big ups
he's
already.
He's already gone. He'll have to get his stomach pumped, my man. But no, everyone, do get over and check out Tottenham Tantrum Goal. Do get over there and check it out. Big Boss Man. Woo! I hope you're keeping well, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Cody Mack, he says, good news slowly trickling in about our good friend Bob Spur. His condition is improving gradually, but he has a long way to go. Keep him in your thoughts, and here's hope in Spurs fight like him today. Cody, my man, thank you for the update, brother. Really appreciate that. And come on, Bob, my man, keep fighting. I mean, you're missed. Just get yourself back into the community. Just get yourself back here. But big up, Cody. Really appreciate it.
Beautifully said.
Yeah, really appreciate the update. Claude Murphy says, I am confident we can overturn this result. Absolutely love it. I mean, look, come 7:30 tonight, we'll all be thinking we can 100%. Everyone just needs that little push to get onto the delusional train. Dark Zone G21 says, if we win 2-1 and get eliminated because we lost 2-0, I don't mind. At least we beat them and then get eliminated. Even Liverpool couldn't beat us at home. Chelsea, who are lower than Liverpool, watch out.
Yeah.
Sean, what would you say?
Yeah, I actually think that might be what happens. I've got a feeling, Jack, I like a prediction. I feel like a prediction might be that at some point tonight, one of the commentary teams are going to say Tottenham won the battle, but they couldn't win the war. And that will be because we either won 1-0 or 2-1. I think we're going to win the game, but I hope that will be enough to win the war, or at least to get us a slice of the overtime or the penalties and have a chance. I do think we are going to win the game tonight, but it's a massive uphill battle. It is a massive uphill battle, right? We're behind the 8 ball, but what the beautiful thing about tonight is that the only thing we have to avoid, there's two things we have to do. One is we have to forget about sitting back and defending deep, because that's never going to work. We're never going to have enough chances to be able to counter on them and score 2 goals. Like, if you need to score 1 goal, maybe it can happen, but with 2 goals, they're not going to give away the 6 or 7 chances that it's going to take to convert 2. So we have to be on the front foot. We've got nothing to lose. But the only other thing we have to do is not concede early. I'd love it if we scored early. That would be a dream world. Then the energy, the atmosphere, under the lights, it's a night game, it's a cup game. The Tottenham fans, I know it's not a sellout from what I hear, but it's still going to be a pumped up atmosphere.
Yeah.
But if we concede early, like we did in the first leg, then I think it could get toxic. at worst toxic. At best, it's just going to be very quiet, and then it's game over. So if we can be in the game, if we haven't conceded within 20 minutes, and dream world scenario, we're 1-0 up at halftime, then it's going to be a phenomenal second half, and I can't wait. But I agree with Darks and G. Even if we do go out, but we win the game, I'll be happy. It will bode well for the rest of the January London ties that we've got and the Leicester game. I think it will just give us a chance to go into it. I feel like if we go and lose tonight 2-0 or 3-0, or if it all goes tits up, then the fact that the players could be in a dark place from an energy perspective, and so I don't want that to happen. But big up, Dark Sun G. I agree with your perspective there, mate.
Great answer, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely great answer, my man. Welcome, Potter Mac. Welcome, Kevin K, to the building as well. Take a few more, and then I'll give everybody need to know. Adrian Chaya, big yourself up. He says qualify for finals or top 4 or both. Do you know what, my man? I want both, to be honest with you. I will take both. But look, even if we go out tonight, I mean, top 4 mathematically is still a possibility. But when you look at it, it's kind of like you look at the squad, the injuries, they're starting to come through now. Do we have the strength in depth? It might cost us, in my opinion. But, you know me, I always say, why can't we get top 4? Let's get after it. I'll take both, my man. I'm a greedy motherfucker. I want the 2 of them. I want that cup final, and I want top 4. Jack?
I mean, I feel like I've said this before, Dave. I kind of want the trophies, Adrian, because we spoke to Mickey Hazard and he said that is kind of, the start of, that winning mentality, that winning culture around the clubhouse, around the dressing room. But at the same time, it's not like then I'm going for the trophy and then, ruling out top 4. I feel like you can still easily go for both. I'd be kind of not so dissatisfied if we did miss out on top 4. If we still got Europa League, I'd be plenty satisfied. But absolutely, Adrian, personally for me, I'm going for the finals. I want to be in that, kind of Carabao Cup final. I want to make it at least pretty far in the FA Cup as well. I want to kind of bring back that winning culture and that winning cup mentality that Tottenham Hotspur used to have, my man.
No, absolutely love it. Big up Terry Wright. Big up Tennis Files. Big up It's Elliot. And big up Name a King as well. Dark Sun G says, if Dyer isn't available, I want to risk a mole starting in the centre of the back three. I want White and Devine on the bench and no Delhi or Tanguy today. Jack, what do you want to say? This one,
wow. I really like Amole, Dark Sun G. I do really like Amole. And I don't know, Dark Sun G. I feel like you and I are just going to have to, meet in some sort of pub someday when the moment that Harvey White eventually gets that sort of, debut, because you and I have a real love for Harvey White. I just love a left-footed kind of deep-lying playmaker like Harvey White is. Is it really his opportunity? Is it really his game? Probably not, but I'd love to see potentially maybe if we are let's say 2-0, maybe up, maybe you do bring in someone like kind of a youngster in to see if he can actually somehow score a miraculous winner that will be for dreams that they probably had since they were young kids. So Dark Sun G, I like where your head is at. Maybe not for this one, I would risk it. You have a bit more bravery than I do, Dark Sun G, but I absolutely love it. Like I said, Dave, before to Dark Sun G, if there would be anybody that I would hire for youth development, it would be him, because this guy instills the best kind of confidence in them. I absolutely love it.
He's all over it. And Dark Sun G, I definitely know you play a bit of Football Manager, my man. Let me know if you got FM22. Dark Sun G. Moondog says, afternoon, guys, we are going to win. I can see it. Absolutely love it, Moondog. Make sure you get down to your cafe. What's the dish you had the last time? It was something fancy anyway. I think you had creme brulee or something like that. I don't know. It was something fancy, Moondog. But I am going to save you a bit of money today, Moondog. Do not put the bet on for Dyer to score first. He is not available. So save yourself a few pounds. But good afternoon, Moondog. Let's big up Terry Wright. He's in the house. Golden Cock as well. Absolute legend. Alex Apostolou, big yourself up. Daniel Fields. And then we'll take the super chat from Ellie, and then we will get into it. Big up. I really appreciate the big one. Way, way too generous. Way too kind. I really appreciate it. She says, Jack's flight money, my pleasure. You are so deserving, young man.
Really appreciate you, Ellie. And I will say, actually, the missus and I are kind of purchasing those flights very, very, very soon. I believe at least by the latest by this weekend. At the moment, they're not too expensive at this moment in time. I did save up a bit of cash, but this certainly does help, Ellie. It's way too generous. It's way too kind, considering what you've already done for this channel before. Just absolutely love and appreciate you, Ellie, for this. And also as well, looking forward to being picked up in that Lamborghini with Højbjerg, in the back seat. And he and I can just be kind of talking, broken ankles, talking, shithousery. And you're just driving us all through London. But Ellie, just want to say from the bottom of my heart, really do appreciate you. I'm glad that you've recovered from the ankle or the foot. I'm glad you've also recovered from COVID. You definitely haven't had the best, last few months, but hopefully, you have a good 2022, Ellie. Really do appreciate you and looking forward to seeing you come March. But Ellie, just want to say to you, really big up, and from the bottom of my heart, really do appreciate you. Thank you very much.
And I just want to say quickly, I cannot wait to go to a game with Jelly. I mean, I think you'd be so much fun at a game, just ranting, raving, screaming, shouting, singing. I think you'd bring me through about 100 different emotions in 90 minutes. I absolutely love it, Ellie.
She'll be screaming moon boots. She'll be screaming, well done, moon boots, from the sidelines and things like that. Ellie, big up. Really do appreciate you. Really too generous. You gotta
love it. She definitely lives on the wild side. I absolutely love that. Big up, Ellie. Addy, as Azudin is in, he says, no chance Spurs will win. Maybe he's a Chelsea fan or an Arsenal fan. Hilsey said, come on, you Spurs lads, keep it positive, and the lads will hopefully do us proud. I really do hope so, my man. I really, really do hope so. And then we'll take this one from Dark Song G, and then we really will get into it. Dark Song G says, bench Galini, Sessi, Young White, Divine, Piscotty, McCandy, Lo Celso, Tanganga, Lucas Orgale, starting 11, Larice, Davies, Amole, Sanchez, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Reggie, Skip, Royale, Winks, Gill or Lucas Kane, a 3-5-2. Jack, he didn't like your first answer. He wants the next one. And big up Good Beats Entertainment as well. But Jack, what would you say, Dark Song G?
Dark Sun G, this might be crazy, but do you go for Pescazzi instead of Amole? Because I really do like the looks of Pescazzi because he can play a variety of roles. I think he's actually has a bit tactical now, so I feel like he's actually quite clever from what I've seen. He seems like he can play center back as well as kind of a right back. I thought he was actually brilliant, probably one of the best performers of the under-23s during that preseason, if you ask me. So maybe him instead of Amole, but I know Amole is honestly like the ceiling for him seems to be really, really high at this moment in time. So I do see where your head is at on that. It seems like you're not rating Joe Rodon as maybe being in the middle of that back three, which I do find interesting. Maybe it's because of the technical ability, maybe because of supposedly some kind of off the field sort of kind of attitude issues. I'm not too sure. Dark Sun G, do let me know. But he has gone for Winks and Davies in that, which I would say you asked Dark Sun G a few months ago if he'd be putting those in the starting 11. You certainly would say no. Probably slap you across the face if you did that. But Dark Sun G, I'm looking forward to it. Really like your lineup. Really like your confidence in the players. And I actually want to see Marcandi come off the bench. That would be glorious if at some stage. Maybe not for this game, but at some stage I want to see Harvey White, Marcandi, Amole, and Pescazzi all on the same team. That would be dreams come true for you and I, Dark Sun G. Big yourself up, my man.
Look, Dark Song G he's just hurt by so many of these players, just like we are. And I can understand them not wanting any of them near the team. Well and I absolutely love it. But big up, Dark Song G, my man. Big yourself up, brother. Really appreciate the support. Everybody, I'm going to tell you everything you need to do. Just before we do, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. And guys, get your super chats in. It's a great way to support the channel. But they also always lead to great talking points. I mean, last night they kept us going for 3 hours, some of them. Absolutely amazing. I love them. But everything you guys do need to know, of course, we are at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the best stadium in world football. Kickoff is at 7:45 p.m. Referee is Andre Mariner with Mike Dean in the VAR room. So we don't have that. Who was it? It's Craig Pawson or some other guy who's been involved in like our last month of games in some capacity in the VAR room, referee and stuff like that. So he is not around today. So we might actually have a chance. Referees might actually do us some good today. So there's Andre Mariner as the referee and Mike Dean in the VAR. And you do know where to direct the hate if we don't get the penalty calls that we do deserve. TV channels for everyone to watch it on. In the USA, I think it is, I believe it's on ESPN. In Canada, it's on DAZN, and in the UK and Ireland, it is on Sky Sports. But of course, make sure you have the game on, but turn down the fraud commentary from Fraud Sports and turn on the watch along, which will be starting at 7:30 here, guys. Where hopefully it will be myself, Jack, and Shawnee. Should be a very, very good watch along. And guys, if you want more of this absolute delusion, I mean, if you want to see it taken into absurd levels, just head over to We Are Tottenham TV for the pre-match bump up at 6:15 p.m. And this, if this tie is level at full time, extra time, and penalty, and extra time and penalty. So basically, if this game ends in a draw at full time, it will go to extra time and penalties. Away goals will not be a factor today.
Yep.
So there you have it on that. Just a few stats for everybody. Tottenham are looking to become just the second team to reach the League Cup final, having lost the semi-final first leg by more than one goal after Aston Villa in the 93-94 campaign. So it's not really heard of too much in this competition. The previous match was the fourth time Tottenham have lost the first leg of a League Cup semi-final tie. They were eliminated from the first two, but progressed last time against Chelsea in 2001, 2002. So look, maybe we can turn them over. Tottenham have lost just one of their 5 League Cup home matches against Chelsea, winning 2 and drawing 2, losing 3-0 in a quarterfinal replay in January 1991. Tottenham striker Harry Kane scored 6 goals in his first 12 meetings with Chelsea in all competitions, but has failed to find the net in any of his last 6 against the Blues. The England captain has just 1 shot and no touches in the opposition box in the first leg. And it just it's indicative of how much we struggle to get up into their half and maintain any sort of possession. But what I will say is our home form is excellent, winning 7 and drawing 1 of the 8 games at White Hart at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium since Conte's arrival. Spurs have impressively notched up at least 2 goals on each of these occasions. So we do score goals at home. So it's not beyond the realms of impossibility, really. Tottenham have only scored 2 goals against Chelsea in their 8 meetings since February 2019. Now, that one doesn't stack in our favour. With Chelsea, in all competitions, Chelsea have progressed from each of their last 13 two-legged ties when winning the first leg since going out to Liverpool in 2006-2007 Champions League semi-final. Chelsea have beaten Tottenham twice already this season, including the 3-0 Premier League home victory, which that one was very hard to take, to be fair. Yeah. Chelsea's Kai Havertz has scored in all 3 of his EFL Cup appearances, netting 5 goals in total, so we need to watch this fucker today. And he could become the first Chelsea player to score on both legs in the League Cup semi-final since Mark Hughes. Having reached the FA Cup and Champions League finals last season, Chelsea boss Thomas Tuchel is looking to become only the 8th different manager to lead an English team to the final of both major domestic competitions and the European and the Champions League. The others were Bob Paisley, Brian Clough, Alex Ferguson, Rafa Benitez, Arsene Wenger, Avram Grant, and Pep Guardiola. So that's all the stats you need to know. In terms of injury news, Christian Romero, of course, is out. Sung Young-min is out, which is absolutely devastating. He's out until after the international break, next one. Stephen Bergwijn still doubts on whether he will actually return today or not. We're still not sure. Mr. Spurs brought up an epic stat that he's only been available for 10 of our 26 games this season, missing 16, which is shocking. And Eric Dyer, of course, is out today, which is a huge blow at the back. For Chelsea, Edouard Mendy is out. He's off at the AFCON. Ben Chilwell is out. Reece James is out. Trevor Chalobah is out. There was reports that Azpilicueta will be out, but I think it's since come out that he will be available. But Chelsea, we're not sure whether Thiago Silva and N'Golo Kante will be back returning from COVID-19. That still hasn't been released yet, whether they will return to the Chelsea squad. But let's kick it off. Or have I missed stuff? Yeah, I have. Dark Zone G says I have FIFA 22 Legacy on Switch and FM on my phone. Absolutely love that, my man. Absolutely love that, brother. Big yourself up. Dark Zone G says Piscozzi or Amole would be better than Roden if he still has that injury that left him out for the first leg. Tanguy and Delhi can't beat Shrimp FC, so no way. No, 100%. Look, with Delhi and Tanguy, do you know what? I don't want them to play.
Oh, they won't play, surely, Dave, will they?
I don't know. Look, you might see one of them come off the bench, if not both, in some sort of capacity for Jason again. That's all I would say is brace yourself for. With Tanguy and Dembele, with Conte's words, I'd struggle to even see him anywhere near the team today, to be honest with you. Delhi, I still think you might see minutes from this guy. Look, I agree. I'm not Roden's biggest fan, but look, Tanganga, because of his inexperience at this level, he cost us in the first leg. I just don't think Piscozzi or Amole would be the right call today. But I do understand where you're coming from. I mean, I'm with you. I'm sick of these some of these guys. I'm absolutely sick of them. But in terms of today, I just think we will. I think it will be Roden. I don't think you'll see any youths really anywhere near the team today. Dark Sung G.
Dave, do you think, or Jack, do you think there's any chance? I don't know if this is a question that you've got lined up. Do you think there's any chance against Chelsea in the first leg? We started with 3 at the back, and at half time we went to 4 at the back. Right, we went to a traditional back 4 with Davies pushing out to left back, and going back to the old kind of 4 and then 3-3 or whatever you want to call it up front. Do you think that there might be the same thing? I worry, or I don't worry so much. I wonder if Tanganga is no longer trustworthy at this level, and Roden certainly was carrying an injury against Chelsea, and then he was also apparently injured in our last game. So against Morecambe, he was playing with an injury, according to the rumours. Do you think on that basis that if Dyer's back fit, do you think there's any chance of seeing us go to a flat back 4 with Royale on the right, and then seeing Sanchez and Dyer back to with Ben Davies pushed out?
Dyer's out. He's not.
Oh, he's definitely out, is he? Oh,
100%
okay.
He's out. Yeah, 100% he's out. So,
okay.
Potentially, if we're chasing the game, I could see us going to that back 4, but as an alternative. But I feel like there's no way we're starting out that way. I feel like we are going to try to grab something in the first 20 minutes, and then if it's maybe by halftime, like you said, maybe it's 0-0 by halftime, and we're starting to reach those kind of latter ends of the game, 60th, 70th minute. You probably do bring on like a Brian Hill for maybe potentially like a center back, and then you do switch to probably a back 4 of some sort. So, I think it's a good question.
So we have so we are going to be seeing one of Roden or Tanganga in a centre back position today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. 100%. I mean, we've no other choices, no other choices whatsoever at this moment in time. We don't. I mean, look, Dyer's out injured. I mean, Sanchez, it didn't work out him playing in the centre last time. I don't know whether Conte will go for that again and drop Roden and bring Tanganga back in. But, I mean, Tanganga's cost us 3 goals over the last 2 games, so it wouldn't make sense to play the young lad today. Well, he's not even young. He's 22, but it wouldn't make sense to play him today. It would maybe make sense to bring Joe Roden in, put him in the middle, put Sanchez back out on the right-hand side, and let's see what can happen. But good question, Shawnee. Good question. Jack, do you know what this super sticker is?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty epic one, Ellie. And it's Dave, it's like a level up. Like, it starts from like down here, Dave, and it's a big level up sign, and it grows up to big here. It's exactly what Pierre-Emile Højbjerg does right before the game, Ellie, and Skippy. They just look at each other, and they probably just do a big Viking chest to each other right before the match. Honestly, if one of them scores, I want to see them both, celebrating together. They probably, before each match, Ellie, they're probably just slapping each other across the face, getting all pumped up for it. But Ellie, just want to say again, really do appreciate all the support. Really do appreciate, the help and the generosity that you have shown today, as well as also countless times before. But Ellie, looking forward to seeing you. Looking forward to hanging out with you. Looking forward to celebrating this mighty Tottenham Hotspur with you soon. Big up, Ellie.
Legend, Ellie. Absolute legend. And Adrian Chaya says, Spirit of Amsterdam, come on, you Spurs. I'm absolutely loving that, my man. Absolutely loving that. I mean, if we could bottle that and open it today is the time. Today is the time to do it, my man. But big up, Adrian. Big up, my man. But look, we will get into some of the questions. And look, I'll go to you first one on this, Shawnee, while Jack's manner in the chat. The first leg of this Carabao Cup tie was extremely one-sided. Chelsea were 2-0 at half-time. Boss possession, they had 69% and held Tottenham to a grand total of 0 shots. It was similar in the second half too, as Chelsea coasted to a comfortable win, showing the superiority over Spurs. But Sean, what do we have to do today differently than what we did in the first leg to try and flip this whole tie on its head?
Well, there's lots of things we need to remember that are different from the first leg. And not all of them are positive, but I'm going to go through the ones that are positive, right? The first thing to remember is that we're at home, right? And against Chelsea away from home, I don't care whether the team was decimated last week versus our first strength, full strength team. And comparatively, Chelsea would argue that their team was, more decimated, right? But we have never done well at Stamford Bridge, not in my lifetime. I think there's only one win in the last 20 odd years or something, right? So, whatever team we put out against Chelsea last week, if Romero was in the team and Dyer was in the team, it still would have been in all likelihood, par for the course. It was going to be a difficult game because we just don't do well in certain grounds, and Chelsea is definitely one of them. Tonight, it's at Tottenham, different game, different environment, different bunch of fans. So that's the first thing that the fans have to remember. That's the first. Second thing is the players have to remember that there's a different environment. The pitch is different. The pitch is bigger for a start, right? And so if you're trying to play expansive football with wing backs, there's more space to do that at White Hart Lane than there is at Stamford Bridge. Stamford Bridge is actually quite a narrow pitch, almost like Highbury was back when Arsenal played in the Library. It was very difficult to play expansive football. We can do that tonight at Tottenham. You can't do that at Stamford Bridge, right? So, second thing you have to remember is there's nothing else. There's nothing to lose. Like this isn't like a league game where you take a draw rather than a loss because it keeps you in the top 4 race. It's all or nothing. So there's absolutely zero reason to sit back. If you go 1-0 down, you might as well go 5-0 down, right? It's either we're either through or we're not. It's game over. It doesn't matter. And so I think the energy, the mentality of the players have to be. So it has to be different. Like in the first leg, there was something to protect. In theory, there was like if you can get a draw, if you can snatch a draw, there's a reason why we sat back. Like there's a reason we don't want to concede. All those sorts of things. There was a mentality that kind of justified a certain mentality, and the mentality today has to be different. So I hope the players will appreciate and adapt to that, and I hope Antonio Conte says that. Obviously, it's going to be difficult. I didn't realize that Dyer was out. That's my poor research. I apologize, but it's going to be difficult with the back. So we have to obviously then control the midfield, right? We can't trust the back, so we have to control the midfield. So a lot of pressure is going to be on. See, Jack. A lot of pressure has to be on Winksy or Skippy or Højbjerg or whoever takes that kind of midfield role. It has to be. They have to have the game of their lives for us to do something here. Yeah. And then you have to look for people like Brian Hill. And I have no doubt that Brian Hill is going to take this opportunity and go, I can't fucking wait. Yeah, he comes across as a sort of player that's like begging for minutes. When he comes on, he's busy, he's energetic. I don't know if you've noticed this, Dave, and I know this off the point, just on a specific point. No, walk away. But Brian Hill, when I watched him against Morecambe, And I've seen him. This is something that you could repeat this idea for all the times I see him. He comes on and he reminds me of Xavi or Iniesta at Barcelona, circa sort of 2004, when you see them play and when they haven't got the ball, they move, they look. They're always doing this, looking for space, moving into it. I love that. Brian Hill does that all day long. And against Morecambe, you could see him doing that. And you can see Tanguy Ndombele staying put, sitting where he was, waiting for the ball to come to him. If the ball's not coming to him, if it's more than 5 yards away from him, he's not interested. He doesn't think there's anything to fight for or work for. Brian Hill is moving all the time. And I think that is something that we can, it gets me excited. I might just disappear for a couple of minutes whilst I think about that.
Do you know what, lad? Like I do with my Harry Kane pictures I received. No, look. Do you know what, Sean? I actually love the fact you said that because I've been saying it since I first seen this guy. His movement off the ball,
it's amazing.
I'm so glad that other people are starting to see it now. That he doesn't stand still waiting for the ball to come to him. He will make that extra 2-3 yard shuffle to the side to be in a better position to receive the ball. If he's not in the game, he'll look to come and get into the game.
Exactly.
If he loses the ball, he's sprinting, chasing it back. If he runs in behind and doesn't receive it, he gets his ass back on side to receive it. And I
defends. Love the way he said that. He's hungry to defend as much as he is to get the ball when he doesn't have it. When we're offensive, he is someone. I'm not sitting here saying he's the finished article.
Yes,
he's got a lot. He needs to put on strength. He needs to learn, adapt, and grow. But I think in him we have an absolute superstar. But what more specifically about tonight, I don't know whether Conte is going to go with a 4-3-3 or a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. I'd imagine it's going to be a 3-5-2 to start to keep us in the game because against Chelsea in the first leg, we were definitely short in midfield. So I'd imagine that we're going to start with a Winks, Højbjerg, Skip formation to keep us in the game. But if we're still in the game at half time, then I think he'll come on. And if he does, then I don't think he's the sort of person that's going to shy away from the opportunity. I think he's the sort of person that's going to grab the ball with both horns and he's going to run with it. And so for the reasons that I've mentioned over the last 3-minute rant, and I apologize for ranting, I feel like it's going to take a different mentality to win tonight. Your question was, what do we need to do tonight that we didn't do last week? It's all about the mentality, remembering where we're playing, remembering who's watching us, remembering there's nothing to lose, and picking players that are going to go for it. They're going to run to the fight, not shy away from it. And Brian Hill is someone who wants to run towards the ball and the fight. And so that's what I think we have to focus on and hope that we can do this evening.
Nah, do you know what? Honestly, I think I'm going to have to go and have 5 minutes with them words you're speaking. I absolutely love it, Shawnee. But look, you brought up the formation. And before I take Dark Sun G Super Chat, I do want to ask Jack this next one. Look, Son is out injured. He's a huge miss, Jacko. But Antonio Conte has a big decision on his hands today as to who replaces the attacker in the team. Yeah. If fit, does Stevie Bergwijn come in? Look, for whatever we think about him, against West Ham, he produced a goal and assist. If the Dutchman isn't deemed fit enough because of his recent calf injury, then, do we see Lo Celso come in, operate in the front three with Harry Kane and Lucas? Do you maybe see Dele Alli come in? Or, Jack, do you switch formation, go to a 3-5-2 to bring in an extra midfielder like he did against Liverpool? And if so, who comes in? Winks or who else would you put in there? Because Winks was unreal versus Liverpool in that formation.
Yeah.
And is on a high after scoring the FA Cup, Jack.
No,
I think Ellie could also find himself in that midfield.
It's a great question, Dave. There are lots of, weirdly, there are kind of lots of, potential options there. I feel like, you could potentially see, I don't think Steven Bergwijn is going to be starting in this one. He did, mention that kind of injury. Also, Steven Bergwijn has just kind of been in and out of injuries, also to a degree as well, seems to be on this move over to Ajax. So to maybe play him in this one seems maybe like, it's not, you only have, so much left of him. So he's probably already out the door. It feels like as it is. So I feel like if Gio were to come in and maybe it looks like a 3-4-3 on paper, what I would prefer to see is maybe actually if it's like Skip and Højbjerg, Gio actually drop, maybe in the middle in front of those, two and kind of still, drop deep and be able to, do the defensive work in the middle to clog up the middle from to prevent Chelsea playing through us. But then he can actually carry the ball forward in ways that maybe Skippy and Højbjerg probably can't at times. And then he can kind of lead the attack. And then I think you leave Lucas and Harry Kane up top to work with each other. I think the brilliance in that could be is that maybe Gio and Lucas could actually combine quite well. We all know that Lucas is unbelievable in tight spaces. He really does like playing 1-2s. He does like playing in really, really tight areas. Gio, to a degree, the same. Gio is actually quite talented in sometimes the tight spaces as well. And so you do feel like maybe if it looks like a 3-4-3 on paper with like Gio playing on the right or something like that, I actually think what might really be the case is that when we are in that defensive shape, Gio will drop deep in front of the likes of a Højbjerg and a Skip. If Winks starts and it's like Winks, Højbjerg, and Skip, then it probably is just a regular 3-5-2 no matter what. But I do see it, if it is a 3-4-3, we might be more of like a 3-5-2 sort of like defensive shape when we are kind of under pressure.
Excellent.
Great answer.
Excellent answer. Dark Song G says, I can't believe that we couldn't score against the Blues in the second game. In 2 games, we faced them when it's kept it in goals. Come on, shoot from long range and test that guy. Jack, what was say to Dark Song G?
Maybe I just go against Gio here, somebody who I really don't trust to be able to shoot from long range because the guy, doesn't seem to have that in him. He barely can get it off. He'll dribble it from long range. But I feel like this is with Kepa in goal. You just want to see Harry Kane, pick the ball up with a bit of space, keep his head up, and then just absolutely drive one like he has against, especially last season. If you do look back at some of Harry Kane's goals from last season's, he would pick up the ball in those kind of sort of half spaces, just turn, take one touch, and just absolutely unleash one at the keeper. And I feel like he could do that against the likes of Kepa. Probably they don't want that to happen because we all know Harry Kane from distance can be quite deadly. But I do feel like Harry Kane is our best shot of maybe, shooting it at long range. Also, Lucas, though, then again, has scored probably the goal of the season, I must say, as well. So Lucas does have a banger on him as well. So to a degree, Dark Sun G, you're absolutely right. We have 2 players potentially up top that could absolutely unleash a real banger, upper V's, top bins against the likes of Kepa. So big yourself up, Dark Sun G. I want to see us test Kepa.
Jack, are we to presume if it is a 3-5-2, whether or not the third man in midfield is Gio or whether he's Winks, however they do that, are we to presume that the two up front is Kane and Moura? Do we think that's a given to start the game, both of you?
I think just Kane and Moura start regardless. Maybe it isn't the 3-5-2 that we're talking about, potentially. I feel like it is going to be that, no matter what it looks like on paper. I think it will be kind of that. But I think Lucas Moura and Kane are going to start no matter what. I really doubt we're going to see, Steven Bergwijn, Lucas, and Kane, because what happens in that sort of scenario is if that doesn't work, you can't put on a Gio or something like that and then expect to get something different. You would rather have Gio start and then take him off for someone like the Stevie Bergwijn or something like that, in my opinion.
But and your opinion would be to start with a slightly more offensive midfielder. Yeah.
I think I'd have no problem with Winks playing instead of Højbjerg or something like that. I actually wouldn't. I feel like, Højbjerg is not in the greatest of form, as much as that really does pain me to say. And he probably to a degree needs a rest. He needs to probably be dropped, to kind of get himself back together. And so maybe you do Winks, Skip, and Gio. And I think that actually could work.
Wow.
I mean, we saw Tanguy Winks and Delhi put in a great defensive shift. So why not see Skip, Winks, and Gio do the same thing?
I don't mind the strategy, but Dave wants to see a team that can crunch Chelsea, right?
Ooh,
and if you want to see a crunch, you need a Højbjerg to crunch, right?
And Højbjerg was rested. He was rested against Morecambe in anticipation for this game. I do think, because look, when you look at Skip, he will be up for the white. Or up for the fight, not the white. Sorry, my bad. Up for the fight, but
no, the white of the shirt, not the white of the shirt. Yeah, the lily white. Yeah.
When it comes to Winks, you just do not know. But Højbjerg, he will crunch tackles. He will rough a couple of people up, and I just don't see Højbjerg being left out. Because if I'm honest, I don't see enough of our players standing up to opposition players, having a go at referees, making it nasty. That's one thing Højbjerg has. And that's one thing, when you're 2-0 down, his shithousery can turn a game on its head if used correctly. And that's why I envisage him playing. I envisage you might even see Skip drop with Winks coming in. But me personally, I would start for Højbjerg, Skip, and Winks. And then if it doesn't work, then you can change it from the bench. That's what I would do. But in terms to answer your question as well about Bergwijn, I'll be honest, I just don't see him being fit enough to start this game. I really don't. I think if he is deemed fit enough, he'll be on the bench. But I do not envisage him starting this game because, like Jack was saying, if you start him, how do you change the game after that? Whereas at least if you don't start him, you always have that option to bring him off the bench to try and affect Chelsea with some pace or some power. Look, we'll just have to wait and see.
It's not just that Dave. If you think there's any truth to the rumor that he's moving to Ajax or Newcastle, and it's going to happen in this window, and you're putting a team out with them, which I agree with you, there needs to be some level of the directive to be get aggressive, get energetic, right? And you can't just level that at one or two players. It has to be a team formation. We need to go direct to them, ruffle the feathers, then that increases the likelihood of injuries and other things happening, right? So if you think there's any truth to the rumor of Bergwijn wanting to move, to raise 20 million to pay for Adama or to pay for De Vrij or whatever's going on, if there is anything going on in the background, then you can't risk Bergwijn in a game when his mind might be switched anyway. He might be booking his flights home. He might be phoning his dad saying, "I'm coming home, Dad. Just give me a few days." You can't. This is too big of a game to risk it on a player that I don't think necessarily fits what's required anyway. B, the formation might require an aggressive approach that could induce injuries. And three, like I say, someone whose head might be turned, right? It doesn't make sense for Bergwijn to start this game, in my opinion.
No, I fully agree. I fully agree with that. I don't think he'll start. I'll put it this way. I'll be very, very shocked if this guy starts tonight. I really would be. Sebas Wolf, big yourself up. Sebas Wolf, 28. Spurs 3, Chelsea 0. Come on, you Spurs. Lucas Moura, hat-trick. Look, he turned He turned it on in Amsterdam, my man. Never, ever write off Lucas Moura.
Great
Never
job,
write him
Sebas.
off.
Hell yeah.
Big up. Moondog David, if Gill is playing then my bet is on him. Honestly, look, I've been saying it a long time, calling this guy Gil Messi, not because I actually think he's as good as Messi, but I believe if he applies himself the right way, he can get to that level. He has all the ability. Even if he doesn't get to Messi's level, he'll get to a world-class player. He has all the ability. He has the movement. He has the brain. He has the desire. He has, he has it all. He has all the ingredients to be top player. I think he's like Luka Modric. I think he's absolutely perfect. I love the kid. And definitely put your bet on him if he starts, my man. Big yourself up, Moondog.
He also has the same hair as Messi to a degree had, at one stage as well. So, they're kind of going for the same look.
Howard Wolowitz.
Messi looked like Howard Wolowitz at one stage as well. So, it all makes sense. It all makes sense, Dave.
To come out wearing turtlenecks and those little.
I want him to rock the turtleneck, actually, Hill. I want Hill to do the turtleneck under the shirt. That'd be brilliant.
He will. So again, the long shot says Sean makes an excellent point about Gil, and exactly why I want to see him as a free-flowing 10. He can find the space and find those tricky passes. I mean, look, Ken, the long shot. How long have I been called for him to be moved inside into sort of like a cam position? I think he'd be. Look down the wing. I think all you have to do with him is show him on the outside, and it's very easy to kind of out-muscle him, take him off the ball. But you put him in the middle where he has space to go left and right. He's breaking ankles. It's that simple.
Yeah. That's why I feel like the name shouldn't be Gil Messi. It should be Gildrick, based on Modric. But rather than Modric, it's Gildrick.
Gildrich.
I call him Gil Messi. You can call him Gildrich. Jack, have you maybe got a nickname for him? I know this winds a lot of people up. So maybe have you got a nickname?
I don't know, Dave. Maybe he would be more like a Chenko or like an Anko. Maybe it's Hilchenko or Hilenko, potentially. That could actually work as well. Yeah, nice. Hilbape, as well, Helinho as well, Dave, there's plenty of them out there. Hiloff, you could be an off, you could be like a Berbatov, I'm actually going to go first because I do love the Ankos, Dave, because they are very technically gifted, the Ankos are, so I'm going to go for Hilenko.
I absolutely love it, honestly. For that last 30 seconds, some people be absolutely smacking the head off the keyboards. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Love the nicknames. And we are Tottenham TV, are in the building, guys. Believe, people, believe. My man, I've woke up to bed with a total different attitude today. I do have that belief. Look, we've injuries, but Lucas Moore, we have to bottle up that half in Ajax, unleash it today. I mean, we've turned Arsenal over before in Carabao Cup ties and stuff like that. Look, I'm fully belief. Like I said, we are Tottenham TV. It's not about the size of the dog. It's about the size of the fight in the dog. And that's my expression for today. Let's get after it. Come on, boys. And I'm looking forward to the pre-match pump-up. Let's fucking have it. We hate Chelsea. We hate Chelsea. Come on. Let's get after it. Big up, boys. Big up. But look, we'll keep this score. Keep this moving, guys. Keep it moving. One thing I do want to ask is look, we are without trophy since 2008, since the 2008 League Cup triumph. The pressure is on Spurs to mount a famous comeback, and it will be famous. I mean, people say we make DVDs a thing. I definitely will make a DVD of this if it happens. But do you think the players will rise to this occasion or buckle under the pressure?
I'm not sure who you're asking, Dave, but I'll answer it first. I feel like
fight.
I'm fighting for it, Dave, because that's exactly what the players need to be doing, Dave. That's exactly what the players need to be doing. They need to be fighting for this one because it is a bit of a free hit, I'll be honest, because they did have such an atrocious performance in the first one, and they still actually have, a chance in this. Like, let's not get this wrong or get it twisted. If they do get a goal in that first 20, even 30 minutes, I must say, the crowd will be very much behind them. And it's also to a degree, maybe Chelsea are a team that if they get punched in the mouth early, Dave, kind of like a boxing reference, if they get punched in the mouth early, maybe they do get a bit rattled. Maybe they do actually kind of, lose a bit of sight, how to actually see out the game. And maybe they could actually make a few more mistakes. So if we score within the first 30 minutes, I could see Thomas Tuchel and the rest of that Chelsea squad getting a bit rattled. It's all about basically, like you said, Dave, it's not really trying to beat them on a technical football level. It's not trying to beat them as much with the tactics this time or as much beat them with kind of the flowing movement. It's about beating them with a bit more aggression, a bit more bravery, and a bit almost kind of naivete. We spoke about this last time as well, Dave, where it's like you come up against these sort of squads, you do know that they have better they do have better players. They do have a better system. They do have all the, kind of resources available to them that we certainly do not. But that's why you have to come into it with a bit of naivete to know that, there is potentially a chance. You have to be a bit delusional to go into it, to think that you do probably deserve to get back into this game. And if the boys believe in that, Dave, I feel like they do have a fighting chance. And 2-0, as much as it might seem very hard to overcome, certainly isn't if you do score in that first 30 minutes. And also, who knows? Maybe we grab 2 goals in 10 minutes in the 80th minute. Who knows? But I'd like to see them at least show a bit more bravery, a bit more commitment, a bit more aggression, and, all the attributes that I feel like they just weren't showing last time out.
Absolutely spot on, Jacko. Absolutely spot on. And just quickly, we are Tottenham TV. While I still have you, I do want to say, I want you to clip something on the pre-match pump-up today. I'm going to read out Conte's words from the press conference yesterday, read out Pochettino's from 2019, where in the so famous summer of 2019, he ended up getting his job there. They're very, very similar. I want you to clip it, put it out there, and let people decide basically whether they think it's similar and whether we have cause for concern on that. But big up, boys. Big up. I'm loving the names. Gil Piero, Gil Dan, absolutely love it. Gil Nola, Gil Gascoigne. I'm loving it. Gil Gascoigne. I mean, I'm absolutely loving them. They're absolutely funny. Keep putting them in. It just drives people mad. I love it. It's brilliant. Keep putting them in.
Why would it drive people mad? This is a guy who's come in, who's a youngster. Everyone has this everybody, I don't care how
everybody thinks he's like 28 years old or like something like that.
Tottenham fans generally are whether you're pessimistic, you're optimistic, whether you're Levy out, you're Levy in, however you view your glass, if that's half full or half empty. Every single Tottenham fan I've ever met loves a youngster coming in, right? They love someone who could be the next whatever. And Hill,
you're not allowed to anymore. You're not allowed to anymore.
No, it's the most important thing. The most important thing in the world is to have aspirations, to look at someone who's come in who could be that little thing extra we need. And Brian Hildrich, in my opinion, is he excites me like this. You can teach talent, you can't teach passion. This guy has both. He needs to bulk up. He needs to learn a little bit. I'm not saying he's the finished article, but in a year and a half's time, he could be the new whatever, any of those names. Gilladonna, right? He could be any of them. He could be any of them. He could be all of them. He's going to have his own song here's my prediction. By the start of next season, he will have his own song that 60,000 fans will sing, because I feel like he's got the energy that excites Tottenham fans. And to the question that you asked, Dave, before I forget about what it takes today.
Yeah, sorry. These comments are cracking me up, man. I can't stop. Sorry, but I am listening. Sorry.
I feel like it takes something like we definitely need certain players to step up in certain positions, right? We're going to need a worldie from Harry Kane because he hasn't got his mate Sonny next to him. And whilst Moura, we hope he can do his thing. We're going to need everywhere across the. We're going to need a worldie from Højbjerg. We're going to need a worldie from Hugo Lloris at some point to keep us in the game, or to protect our lead or whatever we have. There's going to be some senior players that we're all going to look at that are going to need to absolutely deliver the game of their lives. And then the players that are fitted around them, one or two of them are going to need to step up to the plate in a big way. And I think that. Jimmy Hill is going to be. I can't start. I'm not even going to try and get my point out because it's too much more fun just watching the.
No, I'm listening. Everyone's loving it, my man. Everyone's loving it. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, honestly, what have we started today? Everywhere you go now, just put in random Gil names. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant. I mean, where are we? I've lost train of thought now.
Same here.
Look, go on. We'll move on to the next one. Jack, I'll give this one to you. We are perhaps lucky to still be in the tie, given the amount of Chelsea chances that Chelsea did waste in the first leg. But how crucial is it today? We got off to a fast start to overturn this tie, especially because we know the fans are going to turn up. They're going to be in full voice, before kickoff. How important is it we use that and use that momentum to get at Chelsea, especially the first 5-10 minutes? And put them on the back foot.
I mean, Dave, we've been kind of unlucky where we haven't, been able to exactly hear the crowd noise sometimes because we're doing the watch longs, doing a bit of the commentary. But what you can tell is that the players do actually start out quite fast every single time that we do start at home. It seems like we do start like kind of a bit nervous, a bit rattled, but I think that's just because the crowd is just so much behind them. The crowd is actually so loud and so, kind of pushing them onwards. And so, Dave, I think, starting fast is absolutely crucial. It's not the end of the world if we don't kind of grab that goal, I feel like in the first 20, 30 minutes, it's not the end of the world by any means, but it is really crucial, I feel like, to setting the tone. Like I said, David, maybe before, kind of a bit of a boxing reference. It's all kind of about kind of setting the tone of what the match is going to be like. If you start slow, if you kind of start maybe kind of a bit timid, maybe not really wanting to, step into a challenge. Like we said before, if you don't have a Højbjerg in there, that's, going to be crunching people left and right. You do kind of maybe give Chelsea, that bit of relaxation, maybe they'll not have the nerves. You want to basically make Chelsea a bit rattled. You want to make them a bit nervous, because then if you do that, Dave, then, they'll probably they might misplace a few passes. They might actually make the mistakes to a degree that we did in the first leg. Who knows? We might see Azpilicueta or someone have an absolute howler to a degree. So I think it's all about actually setting the tone with the likes of that, crowd, and the likes of just the players believing in themselves and believing that they actually can achieve something here, or at least get back into the game. And hopefully, if you do rattle Chelsea a bit, just rattle their little poodle cage, Dave. I mean, hopefully you can able to, kind of get something out of this game. It's all about setting the tone in the beginning.
Just don't concede early as well, though, Jack.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
If we have to start, and if we do have Tanganga or Rodon or whoever it's going to be, that's going to be next to Sanchez and Dyer and Davies, then the whole game was ruined last Wednesday by conceding within 3 minutes, right? And so whoever it is who's going to sit next to Davies and Sanchez, protect them. That's why you need these big players who are slightly in front of them. You need Højbjerg to crunch someone early, give away the free kick, but let him know that you're not going to have a nice evening, mate. Not in front of the Tottenham fans, not in a cup semi-final. Tonight is a different night, and you are going to be feeling the weight of my knee or weight of my foot through your shin pad.
I was worried you were going to say bollocks there again, lad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Spot on, Sean. Absolutely spot on.
Make it happen, but protect the back three early. Protect them early so we win the game, and then we build from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely spot on. And just quickly, Sean, because we do have Danny, and I want to bring him in. I want to take the super chat. But with Dyer being out, I know Reguilon's back, but with Dyer being out, are you worried that maybe we don't have the defense to create that defensive platform that we will need? Because, I mean, we will go for the game, so we will have to leave spaces, so we will be open. Are you worried that we don't have the defensive platform to be able to build on today?
Yeah, I'm terrified of it. Yeah. It's terrible news that we're dysfunctional again from our traditional back three at the back, right? It's become a long way for Eric Dyer to be so pivotal to give us confidence. It shows the weakness in our back three. And I'm not going to get off the topic here, but I'll lay it out there.
No, walk away.
I'm terrified of the fact that when you hear about Conte having conversations with the big boys at the top and saying, and then the rumors from that conversation are that we've identified a striker, a centre midfielder, a right wing back, a left wing back, whatever it is. But there was, it seemed like the centre back was fourth or fifth on the priority list. We had this conversation a couple of days ago. I asked you a super chat to both of you last night. For me, a centre back is, I think, more important because I feel like we're defensively more frail with our backup choices than we are up front. I feel like, I know that Harry Kane needs some support, needs some competition, etc. But I feel like if Harry Kane goes down or Sonny goes down, the quality of the other players we have at the top of the park are higher than the quality of the top of the players we have at the bottom of the park. And this is another example, right? I don't trust Tanganga. I don't trust Rodon. God forbid something happens to Sanchez, right?
Yeah.
We're fucked. And so when you hear that the centre back replacement is like fourth or fifth down, that they're making a massive gamble that Romero's injury recovery is going to be seamless and stress-free. And that doesn't always happen. A lot of players break down when they're introduced too quickly. So, and there's a lot of games that are coming up. So anyway, long story short, yes, to answer your question, I'm terrified about the frailties of our centre backs. I don't know who I'd rather have of Tanganga or Rodon. Neither of them offer me much in the way of confidence. That's why and to your point, Dave, it's a really important point. If we are going to push forward, which we have to do, we have to throw caution to the wind. Then we are going to be tested at the back. It's going to happen, right? Because Chelsea are too good to allow us to at least as many times as we get through and create something. There's going to be times when we try to get through and we lose the ball, and they're going to break quick against us, and so our defense is going to be under a lot of pressure. And so, I'm terrified of it, mate. I'm terrified of it. But we just have to hope that people like Hugo Lloris have an absolute worldie. Sanchez has a worldie and protects, and Ben Davies has a worldie and protects whoever is in the centre.
No, absolutely spot on. I mean, look, there's definitely cause for concern. But like you said, I mean, just hopefully the gods are with us today, and hopefully they can all step up and have worldies. Carl Knight says, big up, guys. Very worried about tonight's game and the future. Apparently, too dare is too dear. Hope something good happens soon. Deluded Spursy fan. No, look, it's what the January transfer window is all about. I mean, you come into it, jacking off to Vlahovic and whoever else you like, and then by the end of it, you get Vinny. It's an absolute piss take. Or it's just I've had enough of it. But I'm still going to be here doing transfer updates. I mean, it's the hope that kills you at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It helps you get through the January transfer window. Look, we're just pissing about with the Traore thing at the minute. I mean, it's like, look, they want 20 million. It's out there the last few days. Now we want to loan them until the end of the season, and it's just kind of like, just stop taking the piss. I mean, you wonder why we don't get players, and what happened with the Bruno Fernandes deal happened, that like they upped the price. It's because we just take the piss. So it's like, okay, if you're going to take the piss, 5 million hike. Oh, you're doing it again? Another 5 million. I mean, you just don't take the piss, pay the going rate, like most other clubs do. How much is it for the player that we want? Okay, there's the money. But Tottenham don't want to do that. I get negotiations and stuff like that, but I mean, we would literally argue over a packet of fucking peanuts. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I just want to get a couple of players in the door, to be honest with you, Cara. But big up, my man. Really, really appreciate the support, brother. And look, let's bring on Danny Giliaku. Let's have him on.
Giliaku. I like that one. Well, we're gonna see David Ginola tonight, mate. We're gonna see David Ginola. That's what's gonna happen.
Come on.
The reminiscence is coming.
Fun! You've got rid of the. What up?
Do you know what? I've done it for you today, Sean. I've done it for you today, mate.
Love that, mate. How are you?
I'm
Take
good.
the out. It's simpler.
Yeah, exactly.
From the social network.
Smart business from Sean there. How's everyone doing?
Good,
just getting pumped for it. We're getting pumped. The delusion is, just injecting it into our veins right now. Danny, we got to get pumped up for the fight, my man. You got to get in with us. You have to absolutely get pumped with us, my man.
We have to, mate. When I see you, Jack, and you and David, I always get pumped, mate. So it's fine. You guys do the bit. You guys do the job, mate. So.
No, absolutely love it. Well, look, Danny, maybe you can help us answer Dark Sun G super chat here. He said, would you try Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as a centre-back like how Fabinho and Henderson did for Liverpool last season? I would try anything at this point, to be honest. Utes or Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as middle centre-back. I mean, look, I completely get it. But, Danny, if the situation did come like it did with Liverpool last season, where they did end up having to use Fabinho or Henderson, I mean, they've done it against us and still bet us. Could you see Pierre-Emile Højbjerg maybe push back there?
It's a possibility. It is a possibility. I mean, it'll be a strange one to see him playing centre back, because Fabinho, he has played centre back, so he knows how to play centre back, right?
Yeah.
He's played centre back for Monaco when he was there. He played a bit there, so he has the experience there. Now to put Højbjerg at centre back, it's a risky one, because if he's never played centre back, which I don't think he has, if he does bad, then he's going to come under even more scrutiny. He's going to feel more pressured. He's going to feel more from the fans that they're giving him a lot of stick and stuff like that. So personally, I probably wouldn't. I'd rather go with a youth player, a player who is actual centre back, because I think he's probably more important in the midfield. So yeah, it's one of those 50-50. I mean, you could try it and see what happens, but if you're going to do that, you've got to do it against a smaller team, really, or a team you expect to beat. That's what I'd probably try if I was ever going to try that.
Yeah,
Good question, Dark Sundry. Good question, Dark Sundry. Great answer, actually, from Danny there, honestly, as well. So there you are. There you are, Dark Sundry.
No, big up, Dark Sundry. Big up, my man. And look, guys, Tottenham are undefeated. I can't get my words out today. I don't know what's wrong, but Tottenham are undefeated at home under Antonio Conte, winning 7 and drawing one of our 8 games in charge at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And Spurs have impressively notched up at least 2 goals on each of these occasions. Is home factor, could that be, is home form a factor here, or does it go right out the window in cup games? Who wants to take it?
I'll take it. Yeah, it's do you know what? Cup games, it is a massive difference. The home factor is always going to be there, right? Because it all depends. It all depends on how the fans respond when they're in the stadium. Now, it's a big game, so you'd expect. I'm going tonight, so you'd expect a lot of fans are going to be right up for this game. It's a derby. It's a Chelsea. It's the last chance. So it's like you were saying, Jack, earlier. It's like the only way I see us getting through tonight is if we score a goal in the first sort of 20 minutes. Ideally, what you want it in the first 10 minutes, because as soon as you score a goal in the first 10 minutes, the fans are right on top of on top of the Chelsea players. They're right on top of the Chelsea fans. They will go absolutely nuts, and they won't stop. They won't stop shouting. They won't stop singing. And it will be a very good atmosphere inside if it's a very quick goal. And that's, for me, if they got a chance of really wanting to go through tonight, because look, they can still win the game, right? But they might not go through the tie. They can still win 1-0, which technically you haven't lost still at home, but you've lost the tie. So that is a possibility.
Danny?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question on preference? Right? If the score at half time is 1-1, would you rather us concede early and then equalize in the 30th minute, or would you rather us bang one in the first 5 minutes, get the energy behind the crowd, all that stuff, and then concede a sloppy VAR unfortunate error in the 44th minute before half time? Either way, it's 1-1 at half time, still in the game, lots to catch up. But how would you rather see Tottenham score first and lose the lead, or concede first and equalise and then push on?
I would like them. Do you know what? I'll be honest. I would like them to score first. It's a good question, and I can see your angle from why you're asking that question. But I would still prefer to score first, just because it makes a big difference in the stadium when the atmosphere is right behind the team. And I think I remember the game against Liverpool in Wembley, right, where we went. I think it was like 2-0 or 3-0 up very quick, 2-0 up very quickly, and that was one of the best atmospheres I've ever been to. And that was it. That wasn't even at our home ground. That was at Wembley. But because of the way we played so quickly and went straight up firing out the blocks, the fans were going absolutely mental, and it was like Liverpool couldn't deal with anything that we were doing. They couldn't deal with the fan pressure. They couldn't deal with the way that we were playing. And we have to be fast and direct, straight out the block. We have to show today, if we want to win today, we have to show that we are the better team than Chelsea. We have to show we want it more than them. We have to show more desire. We have to show more passion. We have to show more fight, and we have to be quick in our football. We have to be pass and move non-stop. None of this shit that they were doing in the last game against Chelsea, where it was just lackluster and just effortless.
Yeah, like contemplating on the ball the whole time. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So for me, I think always score first. Yeah,
get the crowd behind you. Something to keep. Yeah,
definitely. I've seen it both ways, Sean. I've seen it both ways when we haven't scored first, and it's harder to get the crowd up, because as soon as you get a quick goal, the crowd start feeling that belief, and then that feeds onto the players. And then the players like, oh shit, you know what? We can actually do this now. The fans believe us. Now we start believing ourselves, and that's it. And
the reason I ask, I don't know if you saw the game between Juventus and Roma a couple of nights ago, right? And Roma were 2-0 up, and then Juventus came back, right? And the away fans, they were noisier than the home. When they got one goal back and then they equalised, like it was like the shift, the tide just shifted. And so, whilst I actually agree with you that I'd rather score first, and then, if you had to pick a 1-1 version, you score first, concede late. and then maybe it's contentious, the atmosphere gets nasty and what stuff. There's different thing to talk about. But watching Roma against Juve, I don't think the storyline would have played out the way it did if Roma hadn't played the way, if Juventus hadn't come back the way they did in the game. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get you. It all depends really on how much the team want it at the end of the day, because I think Roma, they kind of, in a way, I know Jose Mourinho went a bit mad after the game, but
I bet, yeah,
they should have held on to that. It's just like when we should have held on to the West Ham game. There's no reason why we shouldn't have done it. Do you know what I mean? And that is essentially the players not putting the effort in.
Yep.
Spot on. Absolutely great answer there, Danny, and good question, Shani. I like these impromptu questions. I like them.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. I mean, I like
my weird head come up. So I've got to ask this question immediately because it sounds like it's something that might make some sort of conversation.
No, I love them, my man. And look, we'll go to Jacko on this one, and then back to you, Shani. Is Jack? Do you believe we'll be able to change this game from the bench today if things don't work out with the first 11 that are out there? Do you have any faith in the bench even anymore?
To be honest, if I were being really truthful, I don't really have very much faith in the bench anymore. But I did kind of lay out, a potential lineup that I feel like could, work, Dave, if maybe, the first 11 didn't necessarily do anything. Let's say it's still 0-0. Maybe we're at 1-0 and we're just trying to get something out of it, Dave. I did say something about how if you had maybe like Højbjerg, Gio, and then as well as like a Skippy in there, you could, potentially see what maybe someone like a Steven Bergwijn could do coming on for someone like a Gio. You could actually see what could happen there. Who knows? Maybe even, to a degree, Dele Alli could maybe come into it and actually be a bit hungrier. I feel like when Dele Alli starts, he doesn't, except apart from the Liverpool game, it seems like when he starts, he just doesn't really do anything at all. But maybe if he were to come on and actually be told by Conte, I need you to be doing this, I need you to, make this sort of shift in kind of the play style or just the game, I need you to make these sort of runs. Maybe that's what Dele Alli needs, is that sort of instruction. So the two players that I could have a bit of faith in would be actually, Steven Bergwijn potentially coming on for like a midfielder or someone like that. Or, even potentially Brian Hill maybe coming on for like the likes of a midfielder or something and just kind of making a bit of chaos. I think that's all that needs to happen, Davis. Maybe the three players that I would potentially believe in would be like a Steven Bergwijn, a Hill, or a Dele. Of all the ones that I probably have the most faith in, I'd probably weirdly say, Steven Bergwijn or Hill, just because I feel like they could actually create a bit of chaos because they're expected to do that compared to like bringing on a midfielder. If you bring on a midfielder, sometimes midfielders, they kind of just want to play one touch passing, kind of get into the flow of things, where someone like an attacker, like a Steven Bergwijn or a Hill, they actually just want to, start from kind of like a starter's pistol, just get going right away and just try to make something happen. So someone like a Hill or Steven Bergwijn, Dave, could come on for like a midfielder and potentially, kind of cause a bit of chaos. So to a degree, I have some faith in the bench, but, in games past, I certainly haven't.
No, interesting. Good answer there, Jacko. Look, me personally, the only one I'd have faith in is Gil. Look, Bergwijn, it's hope. Ali, it's hope. Endobelli, it's hope. Lo Celso, it's hope. But look, what I do want to ask is Sean, because Sean, after the Watford game, you were a bit dissatisfied with Conte's substitutions and maybe not changing the game from the bench. But against Morecambe, when we did have players on the bench who can change a game, he's proven that he can make the right calls. Do you believe Conte has enough on the bench to be able to change a game from the bench like tonight?
Well, I think it depends who's on the bench when the calls are being made. Against Morecambe, the people that were on the bench were the best players in the club, right? Against Watford, against Southampton, the people that were on the bench were the also-rans. So, to answer your question directly and shortly, it entirely depends. If and there's no reason this would be happening tonight, but if Harry Kane and Lucas Moura or whatever are on the bench, then bring them on and they'll change something. If we go with the strongest 11 tonight, depends on the formation. Going to Jack's answer, who would he rather see? Like, presuming that the bench has a shape of Ndombele, Brian Hill, Steven Bergwijn,
Dele
Alli, right? Presuming that Yeah, and presuming that the 3 in midfield or the 2 in midfield has the kind of Winks, Skip, Højbjerg look, and we've kept ourselves in the game for the first 30 minutes and we maybe have 1-0 up, whatever, then the person that I would want to see come on, who I think I can trust enough to be cognizant of the situation, to work within the bounds of what we need, who brings the energy, then it's got to be Hildrich, right? But I definitely don't want to see Ndombele come on. I think that he's obviously got an attitude, or an attitude suggests he's of compass sound and mental mind, but he is just a miserable person. Maybe he's got mental health issues that require a psychologist or some other help. And if so, then I don't want to criticize the guy. I hope that the guy gets better. But either way, the best scenario for our club is to not have him on the pitch. 4 days after getting booed off, if he comes on, first of all, God forbid what happens with the fans. Second of all, even if the fans are supportive, I still don't think he's going to put in a good shift. So he's not. He doesn't. I don't think he needs to put a shirt on tonight. Dele Alli or Bergwijn or Hill. I think, like I said to you already, I think that Bergwijn, there's reasons why you wouldn't play him. His mind might be shifted if he thinks he's going home. He doesn't want to get injured, and you need people to be aggressive in a game where you're trying to have a dogfight. Or, like I said, I've already mentioned those reasons. So I don't think he's necessarily the right choice either. So then you're left with Dele Alli or Bryan Hill. Of the two of them, I actually rather have Bryan Hill. I think Bryan Hill shows all of the things, all of the ingredients that I want to see from someone. And whatever happens, if it works, if it doesn't work, if we win tonight or lose tonight, I guarantee you that you won't reflect badly on Bryan Hill after 90 minutes or 120 minutes or after penalties. And I can't imagine anybody's going to reflect badly on Bryan Hill if he comes on, if he plays. I think everyone will say one of the bright sparks, regardless of the outcome, was that Bryan Hill put in a shift. He cared, he tried, he threw his heart into it. It didn't happen, or it did happen. But either way, big up Bryan Hill, Hildrich.
You'd be surprised, You'd be surprised, A lot of people like to pick out the new players and make them the problem. You'd be very surprised.
Okay. But there's a lot of people that also think that Daniel Levy's a cancer of the club and they don't tolerate other opinions. So
you got that right. He is.
Touche.
If you are watching, your own son only believes Gil Messi is Gil Modric is the only one that can come off the bench and change the game. So open your checkbook, open it. Absolutely love it. HB Pro 84, Chelsea will expect a fast start from us for sure. Oh, they will expect it. But I mean, the thing is, you can't sit back and let them just take control of the game straight away. Even though they're expecting it, you have to go and do it. I mean, look, just turn it into a dogfight. Look, we're not going to outplay them. We're not going to outpass them. We're not going to outrun them. I mean, just turn it into a dogfight. Anyone that steps in 3 yards of your vicinity, absolutely smash the living bollocks out them. I do not care. Anyone that has the ball at their feet and they're near you, chase them all the way over the end line, pick them up and fuck them into the crowd. Turn it into an absolute dogfight. It has to be that today.
There's nothing you can do about like a fast start, though. Like, as much as maybe you might expect it, there's not really anything you can actually do about it. So it's actually just how you respond to it. It actually translates to all sports when it comes to it. If you come up against a team that you know is going to start out fast, there's really nothing you can do about it. It's just how you maybe cope with that sort of, kind of weather. It's how you cope with that sort of, kind of pressure. And if they're ready to cope with it, then, fair play to them. But, it's all about, to a degree, how they handle it. It's not like they can do anything about it. So it's really just how they handle it.
But I'm telling you, I just have that feeling. You rough them up, you watch them coward.
I agree.
I agree. They will cower. They are not used to being roughed up. They are used to coming over, playing their silky football, keeping possession, and seeing games out. You rough these fuckers up, they will run an absolute mile. They'll be begging Thomas Titty to get back on that bus.
Do you think, Dave, it's like do you think, right, it's just we've got to give that kind of performance like we did against Man City where we were in their faces the whole game.
Yeah,
we outfight them.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, do what Tanganga done with Jack Grealish and Raheem Sterling. Tie their hair together and watch them piss about. You know what I mean? It was like Dumb and Dumber. It was absolutely class. You know what I mean? But that's what we've done to City. You're not going to match City in terms of football and movement. You're never going to do it. But what we did do is we roughed them up at every single opportunity we got. And they did not want to fight. What they did do was surrender the ball to us, and we caught them on the counter time and time and time again, because they're all little twerps who are all like looking to cut inside, outside, everything else. Not 1 ounce of muscle on them. Just absolutely steamroll them tonight. I mean, it's a classic trick in the book. If you like, even back in the day where you could tackle, in order to create that middle ground, if a bottom team was playing a top team, you don't go and try and play football against them. You don't try and out-football them. What you do is bring them down to your level, because they're not used to it. And that is the equalizer in every game of football. Yeah. Whether you're shit or good, that is the leveler. So go and do it, because whoever has the biggest heart and the biggest fight on the day will always win out when it comes to that sort of game. We'll always win out. What you need is a siege mentality, a pack, like a pack of dogs, everyone together. It drove me mad when they kicked the ball off Ndombele's head the last game, and we just walked off ready to take the free kick. I'm standing there like, if someone done that to my teammate, I would just rough them up. I'd be in their ear. I'd pull their hair, pull one of the locks, take a little hair as a souvenir, give them a wet willy in the ear, stuff like that. I mean, there's loads of things you can do. Just absolutely get at them and they will crumble. I am convinced of it. But I need to see that from this first team. Yeah, we see them, getting results lately. But what we don't really see enough is that packed mentality where it's all die for each other. You don't see that enough.
Do you mind if before you do your super chat, do you mind if I just ask a quick double question? Yeah. One part of that answer, Dave, and I love it. Open this up to anyone who wants to answer. Is first of all, do you think that Brian Hill is the sort of character that will buy into that sort of directive from Conte? Do you think he's someone that will happily get amongst it and throw in some slide tackles to rile them up? Because I think he will. And the second question I have, which I think is more important, is have you ever seen Antonio Conte in any part of his career ever had to play? Like, do you think he would come at tonight's game with the directive that you are aspiring us to have? I've never seen Antonio Conte be second fiddle, have a team that is so much lower than the team that he's playing against, where the strategy has to be rough them up, boys. Let's bring them down to our level. So do you think that is something that it's likely that he's going to be telling to the boys in the next hour? Whoops.
Do you know what? I'll take the second part of that question, and then Danny can come in on the first one.
Before you go, I've got to shoot. I'm really sorry. I'd love to stay on longer, but I've got to shoot because I've got to go and meet Ben because we're going up to the stadium together. So
love you, bum.
Thank you for having me on for a short space of time. And Dave, you know me. I love your show. I love you. I love everything about this. And everyone needs to just smash the subscribe if they haven't done. And I know this is probably everyone in here probably is already subscribed. But thank you for having me for that short time, Dave. And come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust, and we've got to give it tonight. So let's do that. Let's come on.
Danny, do you know the way you go into the stadium? Just quickly before you go, make sure you sing about John Terry's mother. That song about John Terry's mother. And
I can do that.
I hate them. Just do it. I don't care. I don't care about any of this. You can't say that nowadays, crap. I hate them. Just sing it, please. I beg you.
I'm sure me and Ben will be singing all the way to the ground, mate.
Cheers, man. See you, mate.
See you later, guys. Love you all, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone.
Absolutely love it, guys. Do get over and check out Tottenham on tour, of course, where Danny is from. Get over and check out the channel, guys, and subscribe. But look, I'll take the second part of that question, Sean. And you actually raised a very good point. I mean, Conte is not used to this situation, but he has been in this sort of situation where he has managed some sort of lower teams because he was doing that to make his grade in the game, to make his way up through the pyramid. But on the flip side of that as well, I mean, no team goes and wins title without having that nasty side to them. No teams wins trophies without having that edge to them, that nasty side, because you're always going to come up against a team that will want to rough you up, and you have to be able to handle it to get through that game. Like, you have to have a bit of everything to win titles, to win leagues and stuff like that. So I do believe Conte will have that. And I mean, I remember Conte as a player. He was a fucking animal. He was a pit bull. You know what I mean? And for me, I think he's a very streetwise manager. I think he's very, very shrewd. And I think he would have been saying it to them all this week. I think, like me, he would have been going mad, even though we don't like Ronald McDombele. But you don't let them balloon a ball off his head after fouling him and just stand there and watch it happen. You don't do that. As soon as I seen that, I knew we weren't getting back into the game. I knew we weren't scoring because it's like they just didn't believe. There was no belief, no siege mentality. I mean, especially when you're going into the Lions Den. That's the time you should be together most. You know what I mean? When you're up against it away from home, that's where you need that togetherness the most. And we just didn't have it. But I do believe Conte will be saying it to them. I mean, even like referees, we accept the decisions too much. You need to get on the referee's back, because what it does do, it then creates doubt in the referee's mind, and he starts calling things your way because he thinks he has fucked up, and he'll start calling things your way to try and even it out. And then you get the referee on your side, which then in turn winds Chelsea up even more, and then they'll start kicking, lashing out. They'll pick up cards left, right, and centre, and then it's an open game. Then we can start just getting at them. You know, I mean, but that's what we need to do. And I do think, just to get back to your round off to answer your question, I think Conte is very shrewd manager, and I think he will.
He'll be saying that, or he's got the capability. It crosses his mind to say, one of the ways that we level the playing field tonight, boys, is get fucking stuck in. Yeah. Jack,
it's a great question. It's a great question. I just want to answer it quite quickly. A good
please.
Example, though, actually, even though I think it is quite true, Sean, he's never had kind of a worse squad at his disposal and had to instill that mentality. But the one time that he did was when he was managing the Italian national team, and that huge run that he had. I believe it was at the Euros or the World Cup, when he had whatever it was, Graziano Pelle from Southampton up top. And remember, that team that Italy had was actually one of the worst Italian squads in some period of time. That was just one of the worst rated squads, and he went quite far with that team. He also had Simone Zaza, players like that, and he actually went decently far with that team. And so I think that's a good example, actually, of when he didn't have the quality at his disposal, but he still actually found a way to actually navigate, like David said, kind of with that sort of, kind of doggish kind of, winner's mentality, where he kind of made do with what he had. And then also, just quickly on Brian Hill, you've just seen it. I mean, the guy's just a nonstop engine. He's almost kind of a bunny rabbit with how much he seems to run around. And so you feel like if you just tell him, I just need you to absolutely work your tail off for this one, I think you wouldn't have to tell him twice, to be fair. And also, as well, he has a bit of that naivete when it comes to his work rate. He doesn't seem to care. If you're 2-0 down, 3-0 down, he comes on, he just starts sprinting just everywhere after it. So I don't think you need to tell him twice. But a good example is when he did manage that Italian national team, when they were actually quite a shit team, if I would be honest, and he went quite far with them.
Great answers. I appreciate that, boys. Great answers.
Even when he first started his managerial career, I'm just going to look up here, but he had some lower team in Serie B. I mean, so he you know what I mean? He does know that that there are these equalizer 2 games. He has managed that Serie B level, where maybe he didn't have such a great team, and he's had to maybe create that sort of mentality. But that's what Conte creates at every club he goes into. It's you're with me or you're against me. And then once you have everyone with you, they're all pulling your weight, pulling the way you want them to, and it brings that mentality. But I do think one of the biggest messages he should be employing and getting out there today is every attack has to lead to an attempt on goal. There's no point in getting into the final third, dilly-dallying about with the ball, because all Chelsea are going to do, and all you're allowing them to do, is just get numbers back in the box. Yeah. So every chance you break away or every attack, it has to lead to a shot on goal. Whether you get the ball out wide and get it into the box and get someone across to win a header, whether there's no options on and you ping one at goal, it doesn't matter. Every single attack needs to lead to a shot on their goal, in my opinion. Just quickly take these couple of super chats. Tottenham Tantrum Gold. We scored first against Chelsea in 2002 semi-final. We won 5-1. We scored first against Arsenal. We won 5-1. Boys, we can do it. We are Spurs to dare is to do.
Dermot. Yes, Dermot. Come on, mate.
Dermot. Historian.
I see comments in the chat. There's one from a lovely guy. I know I've seen his comments before that are usually more positive. Dan E. Saying, does anybody actually think we've got a chance tonight? Come on, Dan. There's no point in if this was if we were all going to be pessimistic and come on, no, this is just a dead rubber. There's no point.
You have to believe.
You have to believe, buddy. You have to find a way. Find a conversation where there's a chance that something magical can happen. And this could be one of those nights. It could be. It's going to be tough, but it could be one of those nights where in 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 15 years' time, we're all going to be sitting wherever we are in the world saying, do you remember the night when we overturned Chelsea in the second leg of the Carabao Cup and we went on to smash the scum in the final? This is one of those maybe moments. It's going to be a tough, tough night, no doubt about it. But there's no point in having these shows unless we find something that's optimistic and glass half full, my friend. So
believe in the free hit. Believe in the free hit.
And you know what? Like, look, people are well entitled. They're probably realists at the end of the day, the ones that are sitting there going, look, we have no hope. I mean, I felt like that yesterday. You know what I mean? My mood has changed since I got out of bed today. But, I mean, look, we're Spurs fans. It's all about hope at the end of the day. If you can't have hope, you have absolutely nothing. I mean, let's not just, like, we cannot go out there with the rollover. It doesn't matter, we're out anyway. You cannot go out there with that rollover mentality because you're just going to get absolutely embarrassed. You have to, even the Conte, he has to send the players out with the belief that he has the tactics to be able to break down this Chelsea team. The players have to believe it and then everything else. You have to have belief going into these games. You have to. And look,
Dermot, I just want to say the historian. Dermot is the historian. Yeah. I mean, the guys like Dark Sun G, the tag team duos of like, photographic memories. I swear, like Dermot has a photographic memory when it comes to some of this stuff from way back in the day. So Dermot, just want to say, absolute historian, my man. Sorry.
No, legend, Dermot, legend. And look, I'm very well aware that people probably come in after the game and be like, I told you so, I told you so. Yeah, look, you're well within your right to do it.
100%.
But look, for me, I mean, you're never going to hear me go into a game defeated. Never. I mean, even if we were 5-0 down, I'd walk around with no top on with 6-0 painted on my chest. You know what I mean? I'm just that sort of fan. I am just that sort of fan. I can't help it. I mean, look, I've always been a sort of an underdog boy. I always loved the underdog story. And look, there's no better way than Tottenham. I mean, we're always underdogs. Absolutely. We're underdogs in the transfer market. We're underdogs on the football pitch. You know what I mean? We are the ultimate underdogs. Even when it comes to the big teams in England and the stadium we have and everything else, we're still considered underdogs. This is what Tottenham is. Absolutely reveling in it. Enjoy the underdog story. Dark Sun G says, would you start Gill and leave Lucas as a sub, as a game-changing sub? Who wants to come in on this, Jack? Do you want it?
Sure, I think we can maybe tag team it, maybe Sean. But, Lucas, I think he has to start because I feel like Lucas, he does both of them make great impacts when they come off the bench, I'll be honest, actually. So it would make sense. But I feel like you would rather leave Hill on the bench, kind of get him all kind of pent up with energy. You want him to kind of be a bit hungry. You don't want him to like kind of go into it, maybe a bit nervous or anything. Because at the end of the day, we still have to admit he's just ridiculously young. I think he's just turned 20 or like whatever it is. So we do have to, realize maybe this could be too big of occasion for him to maybe start. Maybe coming off the bench is the best opportunity for him. I feel like Lucas Moura, though, like you just can't drop him because he is in spectacular form at the moment. And he's also just somebody that is sort of that game changer to a degree. He is practically one of the best dribblers, at least this season, in all of the Premier League. The stats would show that as well, that he is one of the best dribblers so far this season. And when we do have Harry Kane and him up top, it could be a great combination because if Lucas, let's say beats 2 or 3 men, he can then play Harry Kane. Harry Kane plays it back to him. It could be kind of scintillating football between the two. And they probably have more familiarity with each other than maybe someone like Harry Kane and Bryan Hill have. I do feel like Harry Kane likes playing with Bryan Hill. I can tell he likes playing with Bryan Hill. But I feel like Lucas, you just can't drop him. He's in spectacular form. And I feel like he could do well up top. And he's also very good in the air, Lucas as well. So that's another thing you must say as well.
But as well, I think one of you were saying that earlier on about his long-range shooting. That goal, the goal of the season that he has already. I mean, but like you look at that, what he does have the capable, and I encourage people to go back and maybe look at his PSG days. This guy has the capable of beating 3 players and putting one in top bins out of nowhere, putting us back in the game. You see it against Ajax, hat-trick. You know what I mean? For me, I think it'd be harsh. I think it'd be harsh to drop Lucas. I think with Lucas, he is a bit of a big game player, and I would play him. But what I would do is I'd have Gill on the bench. And I would say to Gill, before the game even kicks off, the reason why I have you on the bench is because I want you to come on when Chelsea are getting tired to exploit the spaces, exploit the half caps that'd be left for you, and play in the hole. That's what I would be doing, Dark Sun G. But Dark Sun G also says we have to not concede or Blues having a away goal. Yeah, look, if we concede, it's over, in my opinion. It's over. We need to keep that clean sheet. And like Sean was saying earlier, hopefully we can just have a day from the gods, where literally, I mean, even to a hope where it's going on target and a random cat jumps across the goal and it goes over the bar or something like that. We need luck today. We badly need it. And look, we're Tottenham Hotspur with Lily Whites for a reason. Could very well happen. But But Sean, we'll go to this one with you, my man. Last time Tuchel picked a very fluid 11 with lots of players taking up different positions to confuse our players. They were able to string passes together very easily with lots of creative players taking up various positions. Example being ZH Roman almost anywhere at times, to be honest with you. It was on the team sheet as playing a right wing back, but he didn't actually play there. Do we see Tuchel picking a similar 11 that he did the last time out? And what sort of lineup formation could we put out to stop this sort of movement? Great question, Jack.
That's a phenomenal question. Oh man, he's got so many.
You stumped them.
all I would say is that against in the first leg, it's a complicated question to answer. Against Chelsea in the first leg, the second that we pivoted, they were aware and ready for the pivot, right? So I saw that. I'm not sure who the player was. He turned around and gave his signal to the bench to say that Tottenham had gone to a back four. So that they were speaking at half time that we were changing formation and what would they do if we did this. And so, you could argue that Tuchel had the upper hand, right? That he predicted, or that they had plans in place to predict what we would do if we did it. I think that sometimes you have to just like shake hands with who you are as a team and say, Chelsea have got a better 11, a better squad, even though they're decimated. Their bench is far better than ours, and they were more decimated than they are tonight. Right? They're a stronger 11 than they were last week, and we're a weaker 11 without Son than we were last week. So it's going to be horrendous. But I think in that scenario, when you're already 2-0 down, and this is probably a silly answer, but it might be one because I don't know what else to say. But I think that you have to. There's really not that much to worry about them. Like it's kind of like if we worry about them and adapt our strategy for them tonight, then we're going to lose anyway because they're a better team than our team. They're a better squad than our squad. They're a stronger 11 than last week when we had a stronger 11 than we do this week. So all of the variables suggest that if you worry too much about what you're playing against, then you're going to get smashed off the park anyway, right? So I feel like what you just have to do, and maybe, like I say, maybe this is a lazy argument, Dave and Jack, but I would just say that Tottenham need to focus on their game and go back to the things we've already spoken about. The way that you bring them down to your level is you smash them early, you smash them hard, you feed off of the energy of the crowd, you go at them early, but at the same time, you protect your back three early, right? It's going to be so difficult. But if you do all of those things we've already spoken about that hopefully level the playing field a little bit, then it doesn't matter so much whether or not their right back is one player versus another player or their left wing back is another player versus another player. It doesn't matter so much because at the end of the day, we're focusing on our strategy, and our strategy is to wind them up and take them off their game. And if you do that successfully, then it doesn't matter who's in individual positions in the Chelsea team, because if you focus on that stuff, then we're going to be beaten anyway. That's all I can say, because I feel like it, so that's what,
I love that. No, I absolutely love that answer. I absolutely love it. Well broken down, Sean, I have to say. Well analysed. Jack, same to you, my man.
Yeah, I guess to answer my own question, I feel like the best way to go about it personally is actually to go for some sort of combination, at least defensively. I think you need to have three bodies in the midfield. It really was, quite telling that when you have players like Jorginho in that midfield, and it is just 2 against 2 in that midfield, it is really tough because when he has time and space on the ball, he just kind of picks apart, your defense. He picks apart your midfield. You need somebody that can man mark Jorginho. And in fact, if I recall, Dave, actually, when Tanguy, despite he probably, as much as, we're done with Tanguy, when he came off, or came onto the field, he was man marking Jorginho, and he actually took Jorginho out of the game. And if Tanguy Lardas can man mark Jorginho and take him out of the game, then anybody else can when you do think about it. So I feel like we need to have 3 bodies in the midfield to begin with. You probably put on like a Gio or a Winks or whoever, and just have somebody, maybe Højbjerg. You just have Højbjerg, just follow around Jorginho all around the pitch and just make sure anytime he picks up the ball, he has to first time pass it. He has to be able to just play it backwards. And, that's basically the best way to go about it, because it did feel like players like Jorginho, and as well as even Saul, which I hate to say it, also had a great game against us. They just kind of tore us apart. So you need to have somebody take apart that sort of maestro in the midfield, who is Jorginho. If you cause him a bit of trouble, if you kind of get him a bit rattle his poodle cage a bit, Dave, I think certainly you could get, you could get a good result out of it. I think there needs to be 3 bodies in the midfield, at least defensively. Maybe going forward, you have maybe 3 players going forward in kind of a 3-4-3 shape, but at least defensively, you need somebody man marking Jorginho.
No, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. I do love it. And look, guys, maybe last question to kind of wrap up the pre-match build-up is, can Kane step up in Son's absence? And who do you think can be match winner for us today?
Go on, Jackie. Jacko.
Can Kane step up in Son's absence? Yes. Like Kane is already, I think Kane's in spectacular form, and I don't think anybody can't deny that at this moment in time. Sonny, he was at spectacular heights, before he got injured. I think it's kind of ridiculous to say that maybe he was a bit out of form, I guess, for his level, which is a world-class level, when you think about it. So I think Sonny is always going to be a huge, huge miss. But Harry Kane, I would say the past few matches, I think has actually done quite well with maybe a less firing Sonny. So you do kind of think that he could probably do quite well with maybe Sonny not being there. Of course, they really depend on each other. They're honestly beautiful together, the way that they play. But I do feel like Harry Kane, he is playing quite well at this moment in time. So Harry Kane's already in flying form. I see him continuing that sort of flying form. He's also just, Dave, like the effort that he's showing as well. And sometimes in the press, the effort that he shows sometimes to pick up the ball when he's just getting hounded, just getting absolutely, assaulted by other players. He's just really just not getting phased. He seems to also have great finishing. I mean, that I know is against a Morecambe keeper that Harry Winks, hit, a free kick against, but that, that finish that he had where he picked up the ball and that guy was all over him, the way he just turned on the man and just played it through that guy's legs is just vintage Harry Kane for me. So I feel like Harry Kane, he's already in flying form. There's almost no reason to dwell on that any further. I think he will step up. If the team is stepping up, he will also step up and meet them at their level. The match winner, though, is going to be, I think, Lucas. I think Lucas could be that kind of, that X factor, because what he brings is that guy that can just tear apart defenses. He is that guy that just causes havoc. We talk about Adama Traore, maybe, creating a lot of attention and then, kind of, allowing others to have space. Lucas is the exact same thing. Lucas will take on 5-6 players at once and then create a bit of open space. And also, like I said before, at one stage in time, I think we were like almost a third of the way through the season or something like that. Lucas still had the most aerials won in our entire squad, which is just ridiculous. The man almost is like a human missile. It feels like in the air sometimes. So Lucas, I feel like could be that match winner, especially if maybe a good ball, comes into the box. You might see Lucas just rising like a phoenix for it in order to, hit it into the back of the net. So Lucas, for me, is going to be the match winner. Harry Kane, I think he's already in great form, so there's almost no reason to dwell on that.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And before we, great, well broken down there, Jack.
Love that, Jack. Love that, Jack, mate. Fantastic answer.
And just before we get Shawnee in there, I'll just take the super chat from Nick. He says, January 1st, 2015, the day Kane convinced me it can be done again. Elmo said, look, I mean, it's Big H. I mean, it's all I need to say. It's Big H. He scores goals. I mean, why would you say what everyone else wants? I mean, there's a reason why Man City have gone without a striker, because they couldn't get Harry Kane. There's no one else out there like him. There's your answer. I mean, look, I never doubted him. My Harry, I never doubted him. I love him. I love him to pieces, honestly. I'm like a proud father when I look at Harry. I just want to massage his head, run my fingers through his flowing hair, especially when you see it just bouncing bouncing through the westerly wind at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I mean, honestly, I feel like I just want to take him for a cheeky Nando's after. I love the guy.
Dave, I hope that on February the 1st, whatever happens with the window, when we are discussing Daniel Levy, and you guys are the chairman / judges of a potentially heated debate, I hope that you're going to remember, mate. I hope that you're going to remember to recognize Daniel Levy. One of the things he did was actually the best things he ever did was one of the things he never did, which was sell Harry Kane. I hope you're going to remember that.
I agree.
And I agree with you on that.
Look, I said it. I've been saying it in the summer. Fair play to him for not selling Harry Kane. I mean, look, I mean, 99.9999998% of the fan base were calling for Harry Kane to be sold, bar myself and Sim. So, we praised Daniel Levy for that. We were like, thank you, Daniel. Look, when it comes to Harry Kane, just trust us. Just trust us. That's all I'm going to say. But look, Shawnee, I have to give him praise for that. I mean, fair play. Fair play. I absolutely love it. But he needs his PIC back. He needs the partner in crime. We need Sonny back in there with him. So let's get Sonny fit. But Dark Sun G says, I hope we use Cesc or Reggie as left wing back, not Doherty. No, look, the only reason why Doherty filled in was because Sessegnon was actually injured. I know he was on the bench, but he was actually injured, so he couldn't play. It came out after the game, Dark Sun G. So I do think you'll see Reguilon back in the lineup tonight, my man. But Sean, who do you think could be the game changer?
Well, I'll answer that, but just before I do you mind me positing a question to you two for once I'm done with my...
We've been full of great questions, yeah.
Is there any logic to, if we're trying to create attacking offensive options and we all acknowledge that maybe Emerson Royale struggles in that department, and we saw Sessegnon play the inverted right back, and he did well, is there a scenario where you would ever have Reguilon and Sessegnon on at the same time?
Could be if Sessegnon was playing a bit further up the pitch, maybe playing where Son plays because he's injured or whatever. But
I mean on the right as an inverted right.
The only reason why that happened is because Sessegnon was destroying them down that left hand side. Because look, although it was actually playing into their hands, because what they didn't want was Sessegnon and Doherty getting on the outside of them and getting balls in behind the defence, because that's where the space was. What they did want was us to cut inside the whole time. Now, Sessegnon was doing that expertly, ripping them apart, but he didn't trust his right peg. He has no right peg. He has no right foot, and he didn't trust it, so he wouldn't unleash. But what Conte did do, it's kind of like, okay, well, if you can't get in behind him, let's move Doherty over to that side so that he can come in and he can shoot on his right foot. But we all know what happened there. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the guy was given more space than what there is in a Star Wars movie, and he still balloons it into the stands. You know what I mean? But like, with what it actually done for me with Sessegnon, I actually think it nullified him out of the game in the second half, to be honest with you. I really do. I think it kind of took away from Sessegnon's game.
Really? I disagree with you. I thought he looked really, really solid on the right wing back spot. Jack, how did you see Sessegnon playing right wing back? Did you think he was solid?
I think he did actually quite well. I agree with you, Sean, but I feel like you don't start that way. Maybe you do bring, let's say Emerson has a pretty atrocious game and you just need somebody to offer something a bit different. I actually personally think you probably do again, maybe with Brian Hill, maybe at that right wing back kind of sort of spot, especially like, let's say come 60th, 70th minute, we just need to get a goal. We just need to kind of just, to a degree, kind of expose the defense, take those risks. I think you put on probably Brian Hill at that right wing back spot and, probably let him sit a bit higher than maybe Emerson does. Maybe let him not drop so deep like Emerson does, defensively, and see what he can do, because you probably would Hill is really one-footed too, let's be honest, but he's probably to a degree might be a bit better than maybe Sessegnon. But I agree with you. I think Sessegnon looked great cutting inside from that right-hand side.
Maybe it's something to develop for next season. To answer your question, Dave, about whether or not there's a game changer or who's going to be the game changer, it has to be Harry Kane that we look for when he's in the... I don't want him to be... sometimes you look at Tottenham all too often and we get into the final third and then no one's willing to take a shot. No one's willing to have that crack. When you get the ball to Harry Kane, if he can twist and turn and find even a half an inch of space, I want to see him peppering their keeper early, frequently, and throughout to just get the stats up, get the crowd get interested, get the energy up. Even if the first 3 or 4 of them are nothing burgers, like just keep doing it, Harry. But I actually agree with Jack that if we are going to win the game, it's going to come from a moment of magic, and I think that moment of magic is going to come from Lucas Moura. Yeah.
Just got to rub his head a few times, and he's going to give you that magic.
Give him a little kiss.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Well, look, guys, I'll take this super chat, and then we'll find out where people can find you, and we'll end off. But Dark Zone G says we need Kane on form. I hope not to see the Kane versus Zagreb when Son was out injured. That let us down and eliminated us from the Europa Conference League or the Europa League. To be honest with you, Dark Zone G, I absolutely love you, but I'm going to disagree here. Who got the 2 goals in the first leg to give us that 2-leg advantage going into the away leg? Big H scored both goals, 1 in each half. So he gave us every advantage. But what we did do is completely change the team in the second leg, put out some of the shit that we've been seeing that has consistently let us down since then every time they play. They're the ones at fault. I know Harry Kane missed a chance or two, but he gave us 2 goals in the first leg to put us 2-0 up going out there with something to hang on to. So it's not Harry Kane that let us down. It's not Harry Kane that eliminated us. In fact, it was Harry Winks, Doherty, Davies. All them players played that game who were shit. They were absolutely muck. They're the ones that let us down. We got absolutely overrun in midfield, and I knew it was going to happen as soon as Harry Winks played. I called it before the game. So they're the ones I blame, not Harry Kane. He scored the 2 goals in the first leg. I gave us something to hang on to. So, look, I get what you're saying. I know he missed a chance or two, but I wouldn't be blaming Kane for us being eliminated, to be honest with you. He gave us a 2-0 advantage going into that away leg, Dark Song G. But big yourself up. But look, guys, there we have it. Shawnee, my man, where can we find you?
Well, most often you can find me on this channel.
Yes, sir.
And more frequently on here. But if you do want to find me on my own channel, I am going to be trying to do a little bit more. I'm going to be trying to get in touch with like maybe scouts of Tottenham. I'm going to try and get some conversations going with players where we can start to develop the conversation of who is responsible and where they're responsible for identifying. I've already communicated with a couple of the main scouts at Tottenham, which is going to be, hopefully there'll be something that comes from it, but it's early days. Essentially, my channel is going to be, I only ever do live streams when no one else is streaming and I want to talk about Tottenham. I have been doing commentary on my own channel, but I'm going to be doing that more often on here now. But yeah, I'd love it if you guys can subscribe to Spurs Talk Show on YouTube, all one word, the link's in the chat, and at Spurs Talk Show on Twitter. But if I am going to do anything more on there, it's going to be more around, I'm going to try and have conversations with people that where I can develop arguments and insights into things that are not often spoken about, because there's too many amazing channels that are ahead of me that talk about everything else that's going on. So I'm going to be trying to like cherry pick little specific niches within Tottenham Hotspur's story and developing those arguments. So at Spurs Talk Show or Spurs Talk Show, all one word, please, on YouTube, because if you search for that with spaces within the words, then you won't find me. Thanks, guys.
That's why we put the link in, to save people even having to use the buttons. So, guys, it's in the chat. Just click on it. Get over there and smash that subscribe button. Shawnee, he's been brilliant since he's come on board. Valuable part of what me and Jack do. So, you know, you love him. You know, the numbers reflect that here on the channel. So get over there and smash that subscribe button. Well, look, Jacko, where can people find you, my man?
Yeah, just if you can't get enough of Sean, everybody, the link is right over there. Please, please just, help the guy out, especially when you feel like, you want to hear a bit more from Sean. You want to see what else he has to say, especially when it comes to, I feel like, kind of some of the questions that maybe not a lot of Spurs fans are asking. I feel like that's definitely where Sean's channel can certainly help you out. But to our second channel, Dave, in fact, the channel that I'm running at the moment, it is a very, kind of dedicated channel to basically fixing Spurs, where basically I talk about everything outside of, maybe Spurs that comes to maybe certain players that are kind of, maybe kind of hitting it off, players that are having great seasons. I do tons of scout reports on players that Spurs are not only rumored with, but also players that could actually potentially fix Spurs. It's also a great way for people that are kind of maybe European football nerds like myself that just kind of can't really get enough of it. You definitely head on over there, where basically you and I can basically talk about all the sort of players that are absolutely on fire that can maybe come over to Spurs and probably change, our fortune. But please, everybody, if you do like talking about European football, if you do just kind of like talking about, things outside of Spurs, and especially if you like talking about players that are rumored with coming to Spurs, please head on over to flatcapeurotalk. Also, as well, I just did a stream yesterday with Darius from Paxton Road, where we talked about kind of prioritizing which positions we would upgrade first in the January market. We talked about that, and then we spoke about which players we would bring in that would be kind of best suited for a Levy budget, because at this moment in time, we still talk about maybe a Levy budget, what sort of players he would bring in for the cheap. Darius and I give you the best sort of options for the best price. So please head on over there. It's only like an hour stream as well. It's almost like a podcast sort of length. So please head on over there. Really would appreciate the support.
It's amazing content. Jack's stuff is phenomenal. It's I mean, I don't have any idea about the European game like Jack does and Dave does. So I fill in my knowledge blanks on like by checking out Jack's channel. It's superb. Make sure you go over there.
Appreciate it.
Look, I can't even confess to know too much about European football. Look, I know a bit about players and stuff like that, but I mean, I'm not I'm not a football geek, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, and Jack knows this, but like, I would call Jack like a student of football. He wants to know the ins and outs of everything. You know what I mean? How teams work, players, transfers. I mean, the guy knows about the Croatian league. I'm pretty sure you can find a random club in Lithuania and he'd be able to tell you about a player from there. I'm not messing. Like,
no, it's true. It's true.
Guys, do get over there and absolutely smash that subscribe button. Obviously, it's your Bible for the transfer window. I mean, the one about Bruno Guimaraes, why if Arsenal get him, Tottenham fans should be angry. I absolutely loved it. Check it out. The show he done with Darius, unbelievable. So underrated. Get over there and check it out, guys. All the scout reports on any player you can imagine. Get over there and subscribe. And we'll just take this comment here from Lisa, and I love it. I subscribe to you, all of you individually, but you're epic when you get together. Big up, come on, you Spurs. I love that. Brains McLeod says, love the retro top, David. It's unreal. It's unreal, my man. I love all the retro jerseys. I'm trying to build a collection, my man. And Cyril Huda says, great show, my friends. Salam from Indonesia. Big yourself up, my man. Big yourself up. But look, and Kai Balak, he says, Football Terrace says Poch is going to United. I unsubscribed from the fucker. Look, I'll be honest with you with the Football Terrace. I mean, they brought me on to try and make a mockery of me over my defense of Jose Mourinho. And it was like 4 or 5 against 1. And what I did do is I took all their tears, sprinkled them into my big fat spliff, and I smoked them. I destroyed all 5, all 4 or 5. No, I did. It's facts. It's still up there. Go and check it out. I destroyed every single one of them. And do you know what's funny? They haven't come back asking me. No, do you know what I do find funny? Haven't come back asking me to come back on, even though I provide some of the best value for entertainment, right? Haven't asked me to come back on purely because I was correct. In the long run, everything I said came out correctly. I have been proven right, and they haven't had me on since. So, look, I guess that's what tells you. If you come on, tell them how it is and tell the truth, and you destroy the whole panel put together to take you down, I mean, well, that's what happens, isn't it? You get barred, but that's what I done. So, big up, Kai. Absolutely love it.
Big up you, Dave. Big up you for doing that, man. Take him on. Never fight.
Oh, no, always, lad. Always. I mean,
always
look,
fight back.
You know, I was set up. The whole panel was Josie out. There was no real. So I was like, and look, I smoked them. I absolutely gave them the runabout. I mean, it was like a game of kissy catch. Let's catch Dave. He's so beautiful and try and kiss him. And he couldn't because I was too good, lad. I was on the ball. But look, we're going to end it there, guys. Make sure you get over to the GOAT channel of Tottenham Hotspur content. We are Tottenham TV, starting at 6:15. The pre-match pump up. Get the crash helmets, get the armbands out. We are going to go for it. Come on, you Spurs. In Conte, we trust. Make sure you smash the like, smash the subscribe, and get your comments.
Come on, you Spurs. Big up.
Come on, you Spurs. It's game day! Game!